All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 271 is in full swing, full motion. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this time. We appreciate every single one of you as we have what we hope to be another awesome show, another awesome off-season show. We know this is the time where everyone's trying to grip and grab anything that they can find out there in the world of sports. Not even just particularly just Chiefs content, but we know that a lot of fans out there are NFL people that are trying to find things to consume at this time. And it's a very tough time to find things to talk about. But we always find things to talk about here, and we promise you we'll have that for you guys here today. I tell you at the top of every single show, and I'll tell you at the bottom of every single show, if you've not already done it, go to the Spoken Podcast on YouTube.com. Hit us up, hit subscribe, hit like, share, all that cool stuff. We would very much appreciate it. We've seen a lot of growth over these last couple of months, but we're nowhere near where we want to be, guys. We want to be up there in the thousands in subs, and we know that you guys could definitely help us get there, because we literally could not do that without you guys unless Trevor and I just dedicated an entire afternoon just building fake profiles with different emails.
We could do that.
We could do it. I mean, that'd be kind of fun, be challenging, but it'd be a lot easier if we just got, the help of you awesome people, man, to just join us and tell your friends about us. Let the people know where they can find us every Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and that is right here. And the biggest reason why we want you guys to join us all at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is because we want you to join the show and be a part of the show, which is the last part of all this. Get into the comments, get into the live chat. We know that some of you guys listen later on throughout the week. We know that some of you watch later on throughout the week. We know that sometimes you can't avoid it due to scheduling. You have your kids, whatever the case is, we totally understand that. That's why we record these things. But for those of you that can be here while we're doing this bad boy live, man, jump into the comments. Get on YouTube and jump into these comments and get us going, guys, and help us, add to the show, because we'll have things to talk about, but we want to hear from you guys. It isn't just from us. We want to hear from you guys as well.
I just wanted to throw a comment I put on the screen right now. It's from our guy, Dustin Orton. He said, "Morning, guys. Cooper says thanks for his birthday shout out last week."
Hell yeah, man. We were hoping that we were actually going to bring that up and get an update to see if Dustin and the kiddo Coop have had a good time.
Yeah, well, happy birthday to Coop, and now happy Father's Day to you, Dustin, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Happy Father's Day to all you guys, man, out there. Trevor across from me as well. To the Chiefs with their Broncos and Raiders and Chargers kids, we want to say happy Father's Day to them. But more importantly to you, Dustin, everybody that's joining the chat, if you have children, if you're a dad, we know obviously we have a lot of ladies in the house, so I don't want to exclude anybody here. I know, but you ladies have Mother's Day, which we celebrate as well, just as much here. But for the fathers this weekend, thank you guys for joining us. We hope that you and the kids have a great weekend together.
We've got a guy, Billy Hodge, in the chat as well today.
Bill Hodge is back.
Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, man, we miss you, buddy.
It's been a minute.
Been kind of peeking in and out. We know that, Eddie and you were BFFs, but, dude, we're still here. We miss you, Bill. We want you around, brother. Come and hang out today, man. I know you're a dad as well, so happy Father's Day to you as well, Bill. Absolutely. Trevor, you're a father of two. How are things with you this week, man? I know that you and I both have had very trying weeks, leading all the way up into this morning.
Yeah.
But let the people know, man, how's things going for you this week? Give them the update.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's always these Saturdays are always like that refreshing kind of reset button for me. I work a pretty physical job, a pretty physically demanding job.
Chippendales.
Yes. Lots of late night dancing. No, I mean, it's good, man. I always look forward to these Saturdays and kind of having our chats, our time to, because me and Lance don't see each other a lot during the week. This is kind of our chance to kind of catch up, even like live with you guys. So we're kind of catching up. This is literally like a genuine thing. We don't get to sit and talk too much during the week. So Saturdays is kind of when we do that, and we do that with you guys. So this is it's just I'm good, man. I'm glad the weekend's here. Looking forward to Father's Day weekend. Spend some time with the kiddos. And other than that, man, that's pretty much it. Just relax.
This is literally family time. You guys are a part of family time because, like I said, Trevor and I work very different schedules, and it's very difficult for us to just like hang out. Like the other weekend, we went to a concert for Trevor's birthday. That was like the first time we'd done something like that in probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen very often. So trust me when I say, when you guys are getting the live action experience of what it is for us to be catching up this week. Because I told you guys, and we've kept this thing very authentic, even back when it was Eddie, Trevor, and I. We don't talk about what we're gonna, like, our opinions throughout the week of what we're gonna bring up on the show. I'll tell Trevor, like, hey man, I got this topic idea, I have this I want to bring up, I want to do this. Trevor will have things, things like that. But we don't ever like express those opinions at least not very often. Sometimes, in the heat of a game or something, we'll be talking about it, and then, we'll have a refresher. But more times than not, you guys are getting the authentic reaction to what each other is saying, and the actual take. You're getting that live. So this is, I don't want to exclude any other shows, because we have a brotherhood out there, with Chief Concerns and All Chiefed Up. There's a lot of other shows out there we love vehemently. Those are great guys. We respect them. But I think there's something cool that Trevor and I do have here, where most times you're getting our reactions right in live feed. So definitely we want to get that from you guys as well, because we don't know what you guys, what your takes are on things as well. So that's how this thing works, man.
Yep.
Well, we're all hopped up on espresso here this morning, so I hope you guys are ready for this, because I'm ready for this, because I got excited this week. We knew it was ring week. And before we get to that, Trevor, let's give the people what they want, which is the best intro in all of podcasting. It is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back on road time! We're gonna do
Thing. I rudely interrupted myself. We knew this was ring week. We knew that this is when the Chiefs go and get their rings, and this feels like literally an annual tradition when the Chiefs go over there and get their sweet-ass rings. Yes, despite the fact that they had a typo on the ring when they put that the Dolphins were the 7 seed when they were in fact the 6 seed. I don't know how in the world that happens. I would love to know who's responsible for that mishap, but it definitely is somebody responsible. And that person may have lost their job, unfortunately. But regardless, we now see Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce get to rock their rings and their badass suits and blazers. Like I said, this becomes like an annual tradition now, where these guys just feel like this is just what belongs in their hands, what belongs on their fingers. We also saw the awesome picture of Andy Reid and Brett Veach. I don't know if we have that one available or not as well. But we saw these guys, the bad boys that run this whole thing, the guys that have changed this organization throughout. Andy Reid in particular, since 2013, has just completely changed the culture of this franchise, and is the single reason why this franchise is in the direction that it is headed. And I just wanted to point that out, because the thing about seeing these moments in time, Trevor, is that no matter how many times it happens, and this is something we've talked about on the show 100 times, I want to always bring it up, and I want to always savor the moment, because of the fact that we don't know how many more times it'll happen, if it ever does happen again. Are we confident that the Chiefs are going to win at least a couple more Super Bowls in the Patrick Mahomes era? Yes. Yeah. I'm very confident in that. In fact, I think, and we're going to talk about it in a minute, I think there's a chance the Chiefs win several more Super Bowls in the Patrick Mahomes era. But every single one, to me, matters in its own way, in its own special way. Like, we remember the first one, and how that just changed our lives, man, because we never have experienced anything close to that. Anything. I mean, the Chiefs have been Trevor and I's favorite team in the world since we can remember anything. And I tell you guys, outside of a family, of human beings and dogs that Trevor and I have had, there's nothing on this planet that's meant more to us than this team. So to see that first championship in 2019, it just changed everything. And obviously you win that second one. That feels so, I mean, that's just an incredible feeling that, like, okay, now this is becoming a budding dynasty. And there was a lot of crazy shit that was going on in our lives. And I'm sure you guys all experienced things in your own world as well. So when that second one hit, I was even more emotional than the first one, because like I said, it was perfect timing for a lot of shit that was going on in our lives. Just to give you guys a personal anecdote. There was a lot of shit that, and it just, that really, in a way, saved at least myself. But then when you hit back-to-back, when you win 3 of 5, and especially the way the Chiefs did it in that third Super Bowl win, that one to me was the one that felt like that was the one that meant the most, because it was the hardest to achieve, if that makes sense. Not, the special of the first, the relief of the second, those are all what they are. But this third one, the way the Chiefs won it, how hard it was for them to win it, and I'll be honest with you, and Trevor, I think you would agree with me, how unfun that season was, this last season. For them to still pull that shit off, it just, that was the one that, like, you felt like you played. And I know that sounds so disrespectful to the players, so forgive me for saying that, because I know they're the ones that actually achieved what they did. But at the end of this last season, I almost, and this is the closest I've ever felt to being burnt out. I know that sounds wild because you're in the midst of a dynasty. Why would you be burnt out? But that's what I felt like. I felt like, you remember, Trevor, after the game, you and I just sat down and we just like sat there. We didn't say anything for the longest. Like, obviously we're going nuts, and you know, it's because it's such a stressful Super Bowl, such a stressful season. But once it all just kind of dawned on us, we just kind of sat there and we both had cigars. We're just like, and we come back to our house and we're both just sitting on the front porch. It's freezing cold outside, and you and I are just we're just kind of in silence, just smoking cigars. We're just like, oh, God damn, dude!
Yeah.
Like, that was. I mean, did it hit you the same way? Like,
oh yeah, man, and it was everyone's had a different experience connected to it. You know, it's this one especially because this was the year that somebody else was supposed to beat us. Somebody else was supposed to keep us from doing it. You know what I mean? Because we lost hope. A lot of us Chiefs fans, us included, and many parts of that season lost hope in that team. Right. Yeah. So it felt like this recent Super Bowl victory was more painful for the rest of the league than it was pleasurable for us. Yeah. Because it was just like, it was hard for us to get to that point to where we enjoyed it, because it was just so much anxiety every single game, even in the playoff games, you know, getting in deficits again, or having, you know, nail biters with the Ravens with a 1-score game the entire time, basically. Never knowing exactly how it's going to, but also feeling confident. But this one just felt different. It felt like maybe kind of a semblance of what the Patriots fans felt after a certain amount of Super Bowl victories, like, because they were so hated and like everyone was trying to beat them. But when they would win one, it was more agonizing for the opposition to see us win than it was pleasurable for them to feel that win again. It's just, I don't know, man. It was definitely a different vibe for this one around, man.
Yeah, it was. We're having some technical difficulties with our camera, so forgive me, guys, if I look like I'm having like static behind me. We're perfectionists here, so I apologize for that, guys. We'll see if we can fix that. I know it seems like we're pretty bright. There's a lot of different technological things we're trying to utilize now that's a little bit different. I think
you're glowing, Lance. You are.
I'm literally glowing. I look like I'm pregnant, and that in more ways than one. But yeah, that's like I said. When I'm watching these ring ceremonies, when I'm seeing these pictures, I never want to take it lightly, because I always remember the journey that it took to get to this point, from their perspective and from our perspective as fans. Because a lot of times, man, you lose hope when your team is, you know, known for never being great, but also never being like terrible. Like, the Chiefs have never had strings of just terrible football. Maybe the 80s a little bit, but that was before Trevor and I's time. I know our guy Shaggy Shane would attest to that. You know, there was just, you know, you could walk up to Arrowhead and buy a ticket for $10 and just walk right in. That just doesn't happen anymore. Yeah. And it hasn't happened since the Carl Peterson, Marty Schottenheimer days. Those guys did save this franchise, to their credit. But I do think, like I said, there's just a story in itself for every single one of these. So every time I see these ring ceremonies, I just think back to how it got there, and I have to cherish these moments, and I hope you guys do the same thing. And another big reason why that is, and this is to the next thing I want to talk about, Trev, is you know, we had this comment here, and I want to play this clip. Travis Kelce, of course, because of the fact that he's getting older and he's got a ton going on outside of football in his personal life with his relationship with Taylor Swift. He's got a ton of stuff going on with his brother and his very successful podcast. We know that Jason Kelce, his older brother, just signed with Monday Night Football with ESPN. You know, things are taking off for this family as a whole. The Kelce family is they're just striding right now, man. There's so much success that's in front of them, let alone right in front of them right now, and they've already accomplished. But Travis Kelce, you know, we talked about this on Starcade Media, our show Arrowhead Allies, this last Tuesday, when me and my guys, we got to talk to a former Chiefs legend, left tackle Willie Roaf. I highly recommend, after the show today, you guys go and watch that. It's only a little over an hour or so for the entire video, but Willie was on the show for about 30 minutes. But we talked about this a little bit. I didn't really get to give my take on this because we were kind of pressing for time. But the question was asked about, you know, what Travis Kelce was talking about in this clip, because this clip, to me, says something that I don't think a lot of people were really understanding what Travis was saying. Trevor, go ahead and play that footage. This is, I believe, via ESPN Wichita.
You know, I can't put a time frame on it, man. I love coming to work every single day. Obviously, I know that there's opportunities outside of football for me, and I think you got to keep in perspective that I'm still a little kid when I come into this building, man. I know I'm 34 years old, about to be 35, but I have a love to do this right here in the middle of the heat in June. I love coming to work every single day and doing this. So I'm going to do it till the wheels fall off, and hopefully that doesn't happen anytime soon. But I can definitely understand that it's towards the end of the road than it is the beginning of it. And I just got to make sure I'm set up for after football as well.
The whole conversation right now is how much longer can Travis Kelce physically play? And I know that's the focus because obviously he even acknowledged it. I'm 34. I'm about to be 35. Like, there's a lot of questions about how much longer Travis Kelce can play at a physical level. But if you listen to what he actually says in this clip, and maybe it's just my own opinion, Trevor, but I don't think that Travis Kelce was talking about how much longer he can personally play, physically play. I think, we're dancing here now. We're just freestyling with the background.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, just put it back to where it was. Like, yeah, there you go. Hey, there we go. We're looking good now.
Okay.
All right, maybe you can make me look a little thinner. Just like right this
side.
Right, yeah, just trim some off right here. Not here or here so much. Right here.
Well, shape.
I knew it. So that's a Tommy Boy reference, by the way, in case you get that one, guys.
Oh, man.
We're 90s kids. Bear with us. But I think the focus is, like I said, has been so much on, well, how much longer can Travis Kelce physically play?
Yeah.
I don't think that's what Travis Kelce's talking about in this clip because, Trevor, again, if you listen to what he's saying, he talks about how you guys have to understand, he's acknowledging, like you said, his age. He's acknowledging all the stuff that's off the field that he's got ready for him and available for him. But he says that I'm still a kid at heart. I still, this game brings the child out of me. Yeah. And what that means is when you think about being a kid, what do you think about? Being passionate, being zealous, being carefree about what it is that you love to do. Right, that is what we remember that's why we miss being children.
It's play, man.
Yeah,
play.
it was stress free. You live. I mean, obviously, some of us had traumatic experiences, but I'm talking about just in the essence of being a child. You don't think about a lot of things you do now as an adult. You're not thinking about bills.
Cynicism does not exist.
Yes, you're not thinking about bills and taxes and going and finding a full-time job. Like, you're not thinking about that stuff. You're thinking about going out and playing with your fellas, going out and hanging out with your friends, and doing whatever you want to do that's fun. And Travis Kelce still views football, even at that age, at the age he's at, as something that is fun to him. It's not like he's waking up going, well, I'm still really good at this, and we're in the midst of a dynasty. I'm just going to try and tough this one out. Like, you could tell when Rob Gronkowski was no longer having fun as a football player. And I'm sure that some of that had to do playing with Belichick.
And he was hurt a lot. And his body started really betraying him. Travis hasn't really reached that moment yet.
Now Travis...
Last season was the closest thing
Travis said he's had a ton of surgeries, but the point I'm making is I think what Travis was actually trying to say in this is, I'm not going... When he says till the wheels fall off, I think he's talking emotionally. I think he's talking mentally. I don't think he's talking physically. Yeah. I think he's talking... Because I think physically, he could play this game for another 4 or 5 years, and I'm being serious. I think he's that physically gifted, and he's avoided the big injuries to this point. You know what I mean? So I think, because you look at Tony Gonzalez, you look at Jason Witten, you look at Antonio Gates, some of the other great all-time tight ends, they played into their deep 30s. Tony Gonzalez was 37, 38 years old. Tony Gates was 39.
Well, especially
Jason
Travis
Witten was
Kelce
39.
not being like a guy that is responsible for a lot of the blocking, a lot of the bang-bang type of stuff.
Yes.
That's why they have the Noah Grays and other guys, and the Blake Bells that have been in this team. To kind of take on those roles. He's more of that true receiving kind of guy. So, I mean, he definitely takes less damage than a lot of your typical every down, do it all tight end. He's not really that kind of guy anymore. Yeah, our guy, how about those Chiefs told you to give Lance a 6-pack. Listen, if I can adjust all those things like that,
he wants me to give a 10-pack. Hey, Cole, you're being greedy at this point, bro. If you're trying to give me a 10-pack, bro, I ain't no Von Dom in this bitch. But I appreciate them. I'm working on it myself. I don't know if you guys noticed, man. I'm starting to get some guns on me. I'm starting to, peek up a little bit. I got some mountainous regions up in here, but I still got a little fluff in the middle, and I'm working on that. So I appreciate the support. But I think that's what it is, Trevor.
Yeah.
I really do believe that's where we're at. Is we're looking at a guy that is so happy at what he's doing still that even with physical ailments, he's still willing to ride through those because that's not what's deciding his career at this point. Is physical ailments. Because remember, we even heard Patrick Mahomes after the Vikings game in the regular season last year when Travis Kelce hurt his ankle, and we didn't know what happened. We're like, oh my God, dude, that better not be like an Achilles or something. That better not be the A word. We were getting. We remember we were sitting there freaking out. We had no idea. It was non-contact. That would have been
the season.
Yeah, it was non-contact.
Yeah.
And I remember Patrick Mahomes after the game said that Travis Kelce, his whole mood shifts when he's not able to play football. Like, he's an angry individual. And that is who he is. This game still matters so much to this dude. And I think that's what mattered to Jason Kelce. But I think Jason Kelce reached a point of, I've accomplished everything I've wanted. And I don't think that Travis Kelce's there yet. I don't think he's accomplished everything he wants. You know why?
A three-peat would be nice.
Well, that definitely. That's priority number one. Yeah. But here's the other thing, dude. And I don't care if people call this selfish. Travis Kelce wants the records. He wants to beat Jerry Rice in every postseason record. He wants to get as close to Tony Gonzalez in the total yards record as possible.
If he could be the greatest receiving option in postseason history, that's forever entrenched in NFL lore.
Oh, dude,
you're above Jerry Rice and all those things. That's insane.
Yes.
For him, the pride that he would have in that, putting that Kelce last name up there on that box score and then on those rankings, would be something special for not only him but his family and his legend.
And again, he's about 4,000-ish yards from Tony Gonzalez right now for the all-time record.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Especially for a guy who's, like I said, it's going to be 35 in a couple of months. But I think that he looks at it as, if I'm still having fun, my body's going to follow my passion. As long as he stays healthy. Because I don't think this is a thing where he's sitting here, well, as long as I just stay healthy, I'll ride through. No, I think he's saying, I love this game, therefore because we talk about this all the time, Trevor, about, the way your mind is, the way your positive thinking can sometimes affect your health for the better. It's same with the negative. If you're always negative, you're always harping on bitching and complaining about things. People have heart issues, bitterness, things like that. If Travis Kelce's in a happy place and still has the desire to play football, I'm not saying that he can't have a knee sprain, but I think that he can avoid certain things that could lead into an earlier retirement than originally planned. Yeah. So I hear this video. Maybe you guys see it differently. Let me know in the chat. If people got some comments on it, Trevor, let me know. Put it on the screen, whatever we got to do. But that's where I see this. I don't see Travis Kelce talking about his physical decline. I think he's looking at it as, I'm going to play until I no longer want to play. I'm going to play as long as my mind and my heart is 100% sewn and tied into this game that I love vehemently. Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about. Do you see it the same way, Trevor, or do you think it's more on the physical side?
Well, I want to say this. Our guy Brad Simcox in the chat says, Trav is in a real happy place. I don't blame him if he wants to enjoy his life after playing football. And I think it's the narrative of those things like that. The consistent, asking when he's going to retire because he's at that point of his career and he's constantly, absorbing statements and comments and questions about those things. And I'm sure he's thinking about him personally, but I think like you said, he's still playing, man. He's still playing. He's still having fun. He's still enjoying his profession and what he worked his entire life to become. So I don't think he's ready to give that up yet. We've seen that with guys like LeBron and Vince Carter and Dwayne Wade, guys that played later into their years of their profession. Tom Brady, obviously, guys like that. This is something this is their blood, sweat, and tears. This is what they've worked for their entire lives. Yeah. So walking away from it isn't an easy thing, especially when you're remaining on the top. And you have a chance to do something not only for him individually with his statistics, regular season and postseason, but what he can do accolade wise, team achievement wise, what he can do for this city, and he'll forever be, that guy in the city of Kansas City, which he already is. Him and Patrick Mahomes will forever already be those guys. But just to really stamp his claim as the best at something, at the most dominant sport in the world, says something. And that's, like I said, for his pride and his last name and his family's, to carry that on, is just a game changer for the trajectory of his family and his family name and all these things, alongside what it does to just the average NFL fan recognition wise and what he's going to be as a legend. But I understand why he says these things, and I understand why people ask these questions. But at the end of the day, man, it's going to come down to what he wants to do. And as far as I know, as far as I see no reason or prompt to question whether he wants to play still.
Sure.
Because he's shown no. Jason's was a little different. Jason was a center. That's a grueling. I mean, he played longer than a lot of centers do, anyways. As far as what he did in his ability, being an undersized center at that.
Yeah.
Being as incredible as he was, being the champion that he is, and so his was everyone was like ready for that to happen. Travis Kelce's he's shown us no real signs after having his best postseason just this last season.
Yeah.
The most dominant postseason he's had in his career. Why would we start second guessing that now? Why is that? I don't know, man. For me, if I'm putting myself in his shoes, why would I stop? Even if I do win this third ring, and like I've said on this show numerous times, if we get that three-peat, I do not blame him if he walks away into the sunset with that third ring in a row, and 4 total rings. That'd be something special. But at the same time, man, like you said, play is what keeps us young. And if this is his passion, this is his love, and he's in a solid relationship with a solid woman, he's got things balanced in his life. He can do the off-field stuff. He can do the SNL. He can do movies or TV shows here and there during the offseason, or fit it in. Because we had all those questions about last season about all the distractions and how is he going to deal with it. Never affected his season once. The injuries were the only thing that affected his season last year. And we still managed to win a Super Bowl. And he still managed to have the best postseason of his career. So those things can be put to bed. Those whole narratives about the distractions can be put to bed with Travis Kelce. We know the guy's all business. But if I'm him, man, if he wants to play 3-4 more years, I'm all for it.
Well, and think about it from this perspective as well, because I think that the only people that have been putting dirt on his career in these scenarios is everybody but him.
Sure.
Because of the fact that, and I'll say this, I think if the Eagles, in regards to Jason Kelce,
yeah,
I think if the Eagles would have had a deeper playoff push, dare I say, get back to the Super Bowl, I'm not so sure Jason Kelce retires. I think it's because of the fact that he saw,
his body is so banged up.
I mean, obviously, yes, but I think he can still play football. I think he can still play at a high level. And I think that's probably what drew him closer to retiring, is realizing that they're a little bit further away from their goal than they probably initially anticipated. They're not the same team they were in 2022. When it comes to Travis Kelce, I think he realizes that they're still so far into this that even if, and you said you wouldn't blame him if he left after the three-peat, I think that Travis Kelce is one of those kind of guys, though, that if a three-peat does occur, he doesn't look at that as the end. Because as we talked about on this show recently, even, Trevor, this team isn't like The Last Dance, where it's like, hey, we're all going to kind of start dissipating. Like, this roster's so young. This coaching staff is so well ingrained and extended through 2029.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is obviously going nowhere anytime soon. And so I think Travis Kelce looks at it the same way that Andy Reid does, where it's like, why in the world would I hang it up right now when we have a chance to three, but we got a chance to do far more than that.
Well, and I think Travis Kelce understands his role and how vital it is to this team. What he brings to this team, and just leaving without a proper replacement in place for him. Not that this team couldn't succeed without him. They definitely can. But it would definitely impact the team dramatically on the offensive side without, developing another tight end or a guy that can do similar things to him that he can, bring under his wing. That could be, a couple guys up and coming that we, who knows. But I think he understands obviously his place in this team as well and how important that is to him. And I think that's obviously another drive that keeps him really going too. I mean, I've never seen Travis Kelce have personal videos of him training and running stairs and running hills during the offseason. He was doing that this offseason. I never seen him do that stuff outside of training camp footage. He was posting his own personal training videos and stuff. So that was cool to see. So that just kind of shows you he's like, I ain't going nowhere. That's kind of what that was telling me.
He's not just trying to prove the point to other people, but to himself.
Yeah.
That I'm not a place where I'm mentally checked out. I'm not in a place where I'm emotionally checked out. If anything, I'm leaning into it because now I have to, as you age in sports as an athlete, anybody that follows sports knows this. As you age and you start to decline physically, you have to, that's the breaking point of, if I still want to keep playing, I have to tap into the emotional and mental side of things even more so than when I was 27, 28 years old, because I was able to rely more on my physical assets and attributes. Now I can't. So now I have to become a smarter, more heady player. I have to have more up top. That's why you've seen the evolution of certain players where, Michael Jordan, when his first 7-8 seasons, was this high-flying freak of nature, but when he got into year 9, 10, 11, 12, he became more of a back to the basket, back you up, kind of footwork type of dude. Kobe Bryant was the same way. LeBron started doing the same stuff where you evolve your game to extend your career. If you watch the way Travis Kelce's playing football, it's the exact same thing. He's realizing that, 1,000 yards a season is great, but I can take this week off. I can rest my body, get myself mentally and emotionally prepared, and then go God mode in the postseason like he did. Yep. I don't think that happens. And we were sitting here on the show saying, man, I hope he plays against the Chargers because I want to see him get those 16 yards and I want him to get 1,000 yards. But he saw the bigger picture. He doesn't see it from a fan's perspective. He sees it as, how do I evolve? How do I mature? How do I see the bigger picture? And that's exactly what he did. And it paid off in the end where he became the obvious great tight end that we all know him to be. But see, with Travis Kelce, my final point on this, and we're going to move on to another point on what I'm saying, is that Travis Kelce is no longer, in my opinion, in the hunt as the best tight end of all time. He is in the hunt for the best receiving option of all time. And I know that sounds insane, because if you look at Jerry Rice's career numbers, you think there's no one that's ever touching him.
Shit, best offensive weapon ever.
But if Travis Kelce owns all these postseason records, like I believe he's going to, and he, at the end of his career in the regular season side of things, has over 100-plus touchdowns, has 13 to 15,000 receiving yards, 7 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, is a 4, 5, 6, 7-time champion. Like, those things would negate everybody else, in my opinion. That is my opinion right now, that if Travis Kelce's trajectory continues to go the way it does, both in regular season and in postseason, I think he has a legitimate chance to go down as the greatest receiving option we have ever seen in the history of this league. I really believe that. That sounds nuts right now, guys, but I think in 3 or 4 years, if he has 800 to 900 yards a year, 5 to 7 to 8 touchdowns a season, and goes out there and does what he does in the postseason for another 2 or 3 years, I don't know how much more of a debate it really is. Yes, Jerry Rice would have bigger receiving numbers, but as a receiver, it's easier to do, especially when you played in a West Coast scheme that it took a decade for the league to catch up on. He had so many different advantages that Travis Kelce doesn't, and I think that's something you have to consider as well. But that's for another discussion at another time. When it comes to the sustainability of the success that this team has, I really enjoyed, the Herd is a show that I watch all the time with Colin Cowherd, because even though I disagree with a lot of what Colin says, I always, being somebody that has my own show, I like to study other people's cadences, deliveries. I love the way he, uses analogy forms. I love that stuff. We're very different in our approaches, but I appreciate, obviously him, Nick, right? Those are the guys I really pay attention to. And I love it whenever he has a guy that I'm actually a big fan of and have actually become a decent friend with. Jordan Schultz was actually a co-star, or co-host rather, this week for a couple of days with Colin. And he was talking about the sustainability of the Chiefs and moving forward. And I thought he absolutely nailed this take. We can go ahead and play that video, Trev.
And what the Chiefs have done is awesome, too, because the culture they have built, predicated around winning, and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid is so special. You mentioned earlier, just a few minutes ago, that no team has gone back to back to back. The Chiefs now have an opportunity to do it with Coach Reid, and I think the unsung hero as well is Steve Spagnuolo, who beat the Patriots twice, was a huge factor in the Giants winning 2 Super Bowls with Eli, and now has done an unbelievable job in Kansas City with a defense that really was an afterthought when you talk about Mahomes, but now has become a central component of the organization. So Brett Veach, from the GM all the way to the quarterback, to this Hall of Fame, Travis Kelce, Hall of Famer. I'm so impressed with what Kansas City has done in a league built and predicated on parity. It's almost unprecedented.
I could not have said it better and I wish I could have played the context of the conversation, but the whole everything about right now is about the three-peat. Can the Chiefs get it done? And there are so many people, and ironically, the guy that Schultz was in for, Jason McIntyre, that you guys are all familiar with, that absolutely hates all of us Bozo Chiefs fans for simply holding on to receipts that he created. This dismissal of the Chiefs being able to do it is what's becoming comedy to me, because The sustainability is clearly there, unlike any other. I broke this down months ago about how the Chiefs are unlike any other team that's won back-to-back titles. There's only been, what 5 or 6 teams, I think, in the history of the NFL that have won back-to-back titles.
Yep.
And unlike any of those previous teams, the Chiefs are built to do what those teams could not do. They have the sustainability from the coaching, from the GM, from even further than that, the ownership, all the way down. They have all the same assets that have gotten them to where they've been before. Time and time again. And we all know here, if we're being honest, and I know people hate when we use what ifs and what could have beens, but guys, let's be real. The Chiefs could actually have more Super Bowls right now outside of a couple freak situations.
Yeah.
We know this.
They could be looking at 5.
It'd be one thing if the Chiefs had these roller coaster, passages through this time where the last 6 years, Chiefs won a Super Bowl, then miss the playoffs. Chiefs win the Super Bowl, lose the divisional round. Chiefs win the Super Bowl, lose the wild card round. Like, it isn't that extreme. It is constant. AFC Championship, AFC Super Bowl, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. It's constantly at the top. They're in the Final Four. If Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs to at least the AFC Championship this year, that is 7 consecutive seasons that the Chiefs are in the Final Four. Think about that. How insane that is to accomplish. Only one other quarterback has done that in the history of the NFL, and it is Tom Brady. And that is why, when it comes to what Schultz is saying, the sustained success, it's all sitting there for the Chiefs to not only three-peat, but to continue to win at the level they're winning right at this very moment. The young roster, led by an all-time coaching staff, in my opinion, I think Andy Reid I think Andy Reid has a real shot of going down as the greatest head coach of all time, and I think Spags is already the greatest DC who's ever lived. I don't even know if it's debatable at this point. Man's won 4 Super Bowls with two different franchises and ended a dynasty. He was the one that put the undefeated 2007 Patriots team to bed and then beat them again in 2011. Everybody gives Eli Manning this credit for beating Tom Brady. It was Steve Spagnuolo. He was the one that was doing the deed. And this is a take I had this week, and Trevor, I stand by it. I want to get your take on this. But I've kind of hit it on, I've kind of touched on it a little bit on this show, but I want to be a little bit more specific. If the Chiefs three-peat and Patrick Mahomes has 4 rings before turning 30 years old, he will at least reach Tom Brady at 7. I will say that confidently. There are only 2 other quarterbacks in NFL history outside of Tom Brady to win 4 or more Super Bowls. It's Terry Bradshaw and Joe Montana. Bradshaw was 31 when he won his 4th. Montana was 33. And Tom Brady was 37. Mahomes would be only 29. If we all assume and expect the Chiefs to be this legitimate Super Bowl caliber contender team for the next 5+ years, knowing that Mahomes is just now getting into his prime seasons, to me, it's crazier to think that he would be done winning titles rather than winning 2 to 3 to 4 more, becoming the first to win after winning 3 straight. That's just the way I see it, because you see certain guys that winning just seems to follow them. It just seems to be a part of who they are as players, and then you see the opposite effect, where guys just can't get out of their own way. They can't, injuries plague them, or the franchise doesn't know how to build a team around them. We've seen the complete opposite here in Kansas City. Have there been things that Brett Veach has done with this roster that I haven't agreed with? Yes. Especially at wide receiver, but we already know that. We don't have to revisit it. The Chiefs have overcome those things. If this team does three-peat, Trevor, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes before being 30 years old, having 4 fucking Super Bowl rings. Think about how insane that is.
So you're saying his trajectory, in your mind, he is going to at least get to 7?
Yes, because I think we all would agree, barring any injuries, Patrick Mahomes is going to play until he's 37, 38 years old.
Yeah.
So you're talking about another 8, 9 seasons of football for him to get 3 more rings? And I'm not trying to disrespect any other franchise or any other quarterback, but Trevor, let's be real for a second. There are some good quarterbacks in this league, especially in the AFC side of things. Who of them do you honestly believe is going to win multiple Super Bowls over the next 5 years?
I don't have faith in any of them to do that.
Why? Because they haven't done it when they're on their rookie deals with teams that were loaded.
Well, that or injury-prone certain guys that are talented, like the Joe Burrows.
Yes.
Can he stay? How long can he stay healthy? How long is his career going to look? Josh Allen just lost his #1 target. That's given him the best years of his career. Coaching blunders on other teams too. Coaching changes on other teams too. Yeah, man. I mean, Maybe Caleb Williams can become that next guy to challenge, and maybe it's Stroud, which I think is most likely. Jordan Love's looking like he's becoming a star. But there's a lot of things that are not lined up for those guys the way that things are lined up and consistent in Kansas City.
Because again, and all credit to Patrick Mahomes becoming the great quarterback he is, but it also took a franchise to make the right decisions. It also took them having the right head coach.
Yeah.
Like how many teams out there, even like you said, let's say Caleb Williams turns into a stud. Let's say he's just a badass. Do we know that Eberflus is the guy as a head coach?
Sure.
Do we know that Ryan Poles is the GM? Do we know a lot about the Bears historically have not done their job the right way?
We knew Travis Kelce was the man. We knew Andy Reid was the man before Pat got here.
To that credit, like Patrick Mahomes took over and took them to another level, but this franchise was already stable and had the right pieces in place. All they needed was that dude. And when they got that dude, they never looked back. So that's my point, is that you look at, yes, Lamar Jackson, great player, going to make the Hall of Fame now with 2 MVPs. Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, awesome quarterback. Josh Allen, maybe the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Yep.
Like there's a lot of good players out there, but like you just said, Trevor, these teams, these dudes were on their rookie deals, couldn't get it done. It'd been one thing if like Josh Allen won a Super Bowl 2-3 years.
It's only going to get harder for them to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we saw the historic side of things, and I'm a big
Pat's got all the levers where he can divert money continually every year.
There are
to
10
help
quarterbacks right now making more money than Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Think about how insane that is. Like that, his contract's the greatest thing that's ever happened in sports.
But he's loving that though.
Oh, yeah,
the irony of that is hilarious, probably to him, bro.
Dude, he's making so much money. You really think he's worried about whether he's in the top 10 or not?
They're making more than me. That's what's up.
Oh no, let me just
Good for them.
Let me take these rings off and get mad. Like that's the point I'm trying to make, is that I think the sustainability is so much on the Chiefs side of things that it's no longer insane to think that, one, they can three-peat. No one's ever done that before. And two, they could really be up there with Tom Brady's true individual dynasty of 7 championships. It's not, because, everybody talked. You remember being a kid when Tom Brady was creeping up with 3 rings, and then they didn't win for a decade. Everyone kept talking about that. Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw. Getting to 4 is so damn difficult.
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady at the end of his career almost won twice as many as that. Like at some point, someone does it. At some point, someone does what never has been done before. At some point in the NBA, someone scored 40,000 career points.
Yeah, that
was LeBron James.
Nobody was going to pass Kareem. That was an unbreakable record.
Yes, at some point, someone scored 8,000 career points in the postseason. That was LeBron James. Like, eventually, someone comes along and does what no one's ever done before. And in my opinion, the way that Tom Brady was so successful, but had such a large gap in between. He was 28 years old when he won his 3rd ring, and he was 37 years old when he won his 4th. Like, think about how insane that is. Patrick Mahomes is not going to have a gap like that in his career. It's not going to happen like that.
Yeah, definitely not a decade.
If a guy can take a decade off from winning rings and still win 7 of them, I like to believe that even if Patrick Mahomes doesn't play as long as Tom Brady does, he's not going to have to, because his sustained success is going to be far more consistent than what Tom Brady's was. Because we know that in the Patriots side of things, there was always like a push and pull. There was always an ego between him and Belichick.
Yeah.
That's not the case with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They are in unison. They work together. Their egos do not detach from one another.
What helps
when
you have an opposite-minded head coach than a
100%.
Yeah.
And let's not take away from what Belichick and Brady did. They won 6 championships together.
Those defenses that Belichick put together were insane.
Yeah, man. So they had success, but I think that a lot of it had to do, like I said, with a lot of cheating scandals, the era they were in, a lot of things like that happened.
Very tainted, yeah.
The Chiefs are in a position now, like I said, Trevor, even with the great quarterbacks they have to go up against, they're not going up against a lot of all-time great teams, in my opinion. And that's why even when the wide receiver problems they had last season, they were able to go on the road and still win, because they had the guy that can go God mode at both quarterback and tight end, and they had a defense that played at an all-time level. And I don't think that defense is going away anytime soon. I'm not saying it's going to be the 2nd overall defense this season, but would it honestly shock you, Trevor, if the Chiefs finish 2nd or 3rd in defense again?
No.
No, it would not, because this defense is fucking loaded.
They have the best defensive coordinator in football.
And this defense is fucking loaded, man.
Yeah.
Like, you have multiple veteran defensive players in the front 7 alone. They're in their primes. And you have all these young bucks that Spags and Dave Merritt and these guys are building in that secondary with Justin Reed as the veteran. Like, It's so exciting to see how this team is. I know we sound like we're going full fan mode here. You guys know I have to be unpopular with my opinions a lot of times.
Oh, when you got it, flaunt it. When you got it, flaunt it, baby.
But when we're sitting here talking about a team that can or can't three-peat, like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, of course this team can.
Yeah.
And I believe they very well can. They very well will. It just comes down to, like I said, the things that we know have to be on their side, which is, the health, all that stuff, the obvious stuff.
It sounded ridiculous when LeBron and Kyrie came back from the 3-1 deficit in the finals.
And they fucking did.
It sounded ridiculous to even fathom that could be a possibility. But okay, I mean, a three-peat in the NFL with the best team in the NFL for the last several years, I think our odds are pretty good.
Yeah, just how insane would that be, huh? The best quarterback with the best team, three-peating.
It's tough being the best. We've maintained it for a little while here.
It's real stressful. We've seen, and I want to put this picture up, Trevor. We saw the news this week that Trevor Lawrence got himself a nice little fat stack of cash. In case you missed it, Trevor Lawrence got himself a contract. I'm going to get the details here. Yeah, here it is right there.
Got you pulled up.
Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence, man, got himself absolutely.
Congrats, man.
Trevor Lawrence right here on the screen says $200 million guaranteed and $142 million fully. Yeah, $55 million a year.
5-year extension worth $275 million to $55 million a year.
Look, I think it may be because of the fact of what we have here, we just got done talking about when it comes to Patrick Mahomes and how it's so much better here in Kansas City than it is anywhere else, that I have this point of view. But I don't pay good quarterbacks. I pay great quarterbacks. I pay the ones that I believe are Super Bowl worthy, are guys that I could build a Super Bowl winning team around based upon how great they are. And right now, as insane as this sounds, and maybe Trevor will disagree with me on this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will as well. That's okay. There are only 3 quarterbacks right now I would pay. And I'm talking about like the top tier money. Because right now, Trevor Lawrence is now the highest paid quarterback in the league. And then it's going to be Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And neither one of those guys should be the highest paid quarterback in the league. I get it. Look, I've been the one that always told you guys the market is what the market is. I'm not sitting here trying to debate the market. I'm coming from a perspective of if I am somebody, let's say I'm a GM, and I'm trying to build a Super Bowl winner, do I believe my chances go up as to become a Super Bowl contender if I'm paying Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott all-time great money, or if I go out there and try to find a way to get the next guy on a rookie deal and build a winning franchise around him? That's the question you have to ask yourself. That's the question of whether you're confident in your abilities to go and find that guy or not. And here's the thing. Right now, as it stands, and maybe I'm crazy, there's only 3 guys I would pay, Trevor. First one, let's go and put him up there. The obvious one, Patrick Mahomes. Without question, the easiest answer of all of them. Number 2, Josh Allen. And I'll get to why in a second. And number 3, Matthew Stafford. Now, here's the biggest reason. And I'm going to start with number 3. Matthew Stafford has had one true opportunity with a contender in his entire career. This man has always put up the numbers. Insane numbers. With or without Megatron. Doesn't matter. He's putting up 4,000, 5,000. I think he has, 5,000 yard seasons in his career. Had maybe the greatest postseason run. The one time he had a great team. The one time he had a healthy, great team when he had a left tackle that was worth the damn, Andrew Whitworth, and they won the damn Super Bowl. Now, maybe they don't win the Super Bowl if the Chiefs don't have the meltdown in the second half against the Bengals in the AFC Championship. But what Matt Stafford did in that one run, and what I've seen from this man throughout his entire career, carrying shitty Lions teams to the playoffs multiple times, and being able to throw the ball unlike almost any other quarterback I've seen in my life, outside of a couple guys that are on this list, ironically, I think Matthew Stafford's the kind of guy that I would comfortably pay because, like I said, when he has a team around him that can win, they do win. He just led a Rams team that was battered and bruised and injured last season to the postseason and had to take on the ghosts of his past and still won that game. And the Lions were the better team in that game, we might add.
Yeah.
And the Rams are now starting to develop a younger nucleus around Matthew Stafford, and you're seeing why people are starting to buy into the Rams again, and I might be one of them.
So you'd pay Matthew Stafford now?
Well, I'm talking about if we're like, let's say like age doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because obviously he's 35, 36. Like I wouldn't go and give him a 5-year deal right now.
If I'm being honest with you, there's a handful of quarterbacks I could have placed on that Rams team that would have won that Super Bowl. I think if you put a healthy Joe Burrow on that team, they win the Super Bowl. It's without question to me. I think if you put a healthy Josh Allen, obviously Josh Allen's on your list, so I get that. But I think if you put
the reason I wouldn't put Burrow,
even maybe a Trevor Lawrence on that offense,
and I'm going to get to Burrow in a second, is why I wouldn't pay him right now, is because of his inabilities late in games. Everybody talks about Joe, so clutch. He's never thrown a fourth quarter touchdown in the postseason.
That is damning. But he has made a Super Bowl appearance. He's been there. Josh Allen hasn't even done that.
But let's be real.
You know what I mean?
Let's be real.
Josh Allen's had better teams.
What was it more about? was Joe Burrow getting the Super Bowl, was it more about what he did or what the Chiefs didn't do in the AFC Championship? Because if you go and look at Joe Burrow's postseason run that year, he actually wasn't very good.
Sure.
I think he had like 85.
That defense was great.
Yeah, he had like an 85 quarterback rating in that postseason run.
Yeah,
I think he had like 3 touchdowns.
He was not special by any means.
But like 3 touchdowns.
But I mean, I don't even think in the game when, I mean, Stafford was pretty damn good in that Super Bowl when they won. He was good in that entire postseason run. But I mean, at the same time, the dude's hurt a lot as well. He plays through it. He's an Iron Man, 100%, always has been. And he has special arm talent. I'm not going to discredit that at all. But I don't know. I think if we can, talk about, I think Joe Burrow's up there as well, talent-wise, with Matthew Stafford as far as talent and throwing the football, IQ, all these things, and even mobility when you need it to be, because Stafford, their mobility is similar. I think Joe Burrow's right there with Matthew Stafford as far. I think he's better at this point in their careers, obviously, if they're both remain healthy. I think I would pay Joe Burrow before I would pay Matthew Stafford if I can maintain their health.
Well, I know you're a big Rodgers guy.
Of course.
And here's the crazy thing. We've seen Rodgers have this long, successful career, right? Go look at Rodgers and Stafford's careers in their postseasons.
Yeah.
Stafford's a better player. Rating-wise.
He's not better.
No, hold on.
He's not better.
But hold on. In his career in the postseason, he's the better quarterback.
I mean, if you just want to look at statistics, and I get it, man. Because
what do we know about Rodgers in the postseason outside of that one run? He's choked a ton, dude.
Yeah, if you put Aaron Rodgers on that Rams team, they're winning that Super Bowl.
Okay, well, we're going to sit here and pretend like those Packers teams weren't loaded, that he didn't have an awesome team with the Packers multiple times?
I mean, he hasn't had too many loaded teams.
Oh, man, like, let's be real. The Packers have had some really good... Look what Jordan Love finally puts it together, and look what that team did to the Cowboys. And then this is with a bunch of unproven commodities. He had a better playoff run than Rodgers has had in 6-7 years. This is the point I'm trying to make, man, is he's had home games that he's lost to teams they have no business losing to. He had a chance to get into the postseason against a Lions team 2 years ago and choked that game away, played like shit and lost. My point, and I'm not even trying to down Rodgers here. I'm saying that Rodgers is revered as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah.
Stafford has outperformed
outside of Patrick Mahomes, I don't think anybody throws a better ball than Aaron Rodgers.
And maybe you're right, but I'm saying that Stafford is right up there, dude. People don't recognize it enough. You know why? He spent 10 years in Detroit.
I think he's up there. I just don't think he's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers.
And maybe he's not. My point, though, is in a shorter window of opportunity to win, he's done more than Rodgers has. He has. They've won the same amount of Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Like he's done just as good, if not better, than Rodgers in a shorter sample size of success and opportunity. Because to your point, if Stafford had the Packers all these years, you don't think he has opportunities to win multiple Super Bowls?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like because he always put the Lions, like shitty franchise, horrible rosters, bad coaching. Like he never had the opportunity and stability that Aaron Rodgers did for 10, 11 years.
He also played in the dome a lot of his career as well, and didn't have to play through a lot of the terrible cold weather that Aaron Rodgers has played.
I mean, he played the North,
career.
though. They played in the same division, so he still went to the he still went up there.
Every home game's a dome. Like there's a lot of advantages as far as like remaining healthy, and he still couldn't do that. But at the same time, when it comes back to your point though about paying guys, and you're only going to pay the guys that are great. Great quarterbacks don't just grow on trees, though, and it's not. I don't blame teams for paying guys like Trevor Lawrence, who I still believe can become a great player in this league. He's still very young, still has a lot of promise. He's very streaky right at this point of his career. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's a great player. I think he's right there in that middle of the, like a little bit higher than the middle of the pack. I think he's got all the talent. I think he's got an incredible arm. He struggles with accuracy over the middle sometimes. Consistent there, but he's got a great deep ball thrower. And has the competitive edge I think that any great quarterback needs.'s definitely a competitive guy. He's just got to put it together, and he's got to just kind of put it together. But at the same time, I don't blame teams for paying guys this kind of money, because this is what the market is. And I think you can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. I think you can win a Super Bowl with a guy like Dak Prescott. I think you can. If the team is right, the coaching staff is right. We've seen lesser quarterbacks win Super Bowls. Granted, the league is far more competitive and the talent pool is far more deeper, especially at quarterback now. You can find guys, and these quarterbacks coming in the league now are far more ready than they were before. We'll see what Caleb Williams, because I think Stroud's destined to be an all-time great, honestly. I think he looks incredible, what he can do there for the Texans. But I think paying these guys this kind of money, I mean, it just makes sense, because you're not just going to let them walk, let them go somewhere else, try to draft the next guy. That just seems like a tough thing to do, man. Not everybody's going to find their Patrick Mahomes. Not everybody's going to find, they're Tom Brady in late in the draft, or they're Aaron Rodgers later in the draft. I just don't. I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's the logical approach. I think the logical approach is to pay the guy that you have that is good enough that you believe you can win with. He may not be Patrick Mahomes. He may not be Tom Brady. He may not be Aaron Rodgers. He may not be Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. They may not be those guys, but can he lead your team? Can he guide the ship? Can he be good enough?
But that's the whole. That was the missions. Yeah, that's that. You can't. Drew Brees is one of the most statistically graded quarterbacks of all time.
That's because he played a long time and he's very consistent with what I'm not saying, but he didn't. But
he had like 5,000 yard seasons.
Let's be very honest with ourselves. Drew Brees didn't have some kind of outlier talent. He's a very vanilla quarterback, bro.
Right, but I'm saying
he was very consistent.
He was highly efficient. He was the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he's very good throwing the slant pass.
He's the most accurate quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he's very good throwing the slant pass.
Well, I'm just saying that you got to give him credit.
I'm not trying to take that away from him. He's a true tried and true champ in this league and a legend.
Right. He made Sean Payton look like a Hall of Fame coach.
I mean, damn.
What has Sean Payton done without Drew Brees?
I mean, give it time. I mean, I don't know. I hope he fails because he's in Denver, but I still think Sean Payton's a hell of a coach.
I think what your mission statement though is, Trevor, is what the Chiefs were doing with Alex Smith. Alex Smith was a very middle of the back quarterback.
Yeah.
Chiefs were constantly making the playoffs, but you knew at the end of the day, when you run into a Tom Brady or you run into a Peyton Manning or you run into a Ben Roethlisberger, you're going to lose. And so when I look at some of these other quarterbacks, and this is the reason why Josh Allen's on my list to pay.
Eli ran into Tom Brady twice.
Okay, but I just got to tell you that Trevor, wasn't that more about the Giants' defense shutting them down?
That's my point, though.
It wasn't because Eli was so great in those games.
No. I'm not saying you pay those quarterbacks because they're that great. I think you pay those quarterbacks what the market is demanding for your starting caliber quarterback.
But even to your point of what you're saying right there, Brady was in the Super Bowl both those times. Yeah. So he lost in the Super Bowl. Like, we're talking about a guy that got to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about a guy that lost in the divisional round. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to Josh Allen, the only thing that's keeping Josh Allen from Super Bowls is Patrick Mahomes. Literally, look at his career. Like, I think he has 4 playoff losses?
Yeah.
And 3 of them are to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, they're all one-score games.
Or I think he has 5 losses. And his first one was like his rookie season against Deshaun Watson, or his second season against Deshaun Watson when he acted like an idiot.
Yeah.
That was like the one bad loss on Josh Allen. He played horrible in that game. Outside of that, the Bengals game was rough, but 3 of his playoff losses are to Patrick Mahomes, and one of them was an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you look at Josh Allen's career numbers in the postseason, he is unbelievably great. Dude, he has I think it's the best touchdown interception ratio in postseason history. Right above Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Alex Smith is in a different tier than like the Joe Burrows and the Trevor Lawrences of what I'm talking about. I think those guys deserve to be paid. Alex Smith was just he was a retread, he was a fill-in, he was a stopgap quarterback. That's what he was, and he was good. But he wasn't nearly great or to the point where you can really truly win with that guy. Dak Prescott's pretty close to that tier of Alex Smith of what he was. I think he's better than Alex Smith, obviously.
Significantly.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he's better than Trevor Lawrence.
So that's what I'm saying. So I think those guys do deserve to get that money. You're not going to be able to – I'm not going to say that there's only the select few guys that actually deserve that kind of money. I think these guys do deserve that kind of money. That whether or not they're better than – I don't think you need to be an all-time great or better than Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Stafford to deserve that kind of money. I think that's what the market is. I mean, we've seen guys get paid for lesser, for being lesser than that. So I don't know, man. Derek Carr got the bag this past offseason. Derek Carr's a very middle of the pack quarterback.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you pay Brock Purdy?
No.
Okay. Brock Purdy's had significantly better football than Trevor Lawrence ever has.
He's in a much better situation, has been.
That's you're making my point, though, is that Trevor Lawrence is a better player. I agree.
Yeah.
But Trevor Lawrence is showing on the AFC side of things, you have to be good enough to beat Patrick Mahomes.
To go to that comparison, though, I think we know that there's a system in place in San Fran that sets up quarterbacks for success.
Sure, but Jimmy Garoppolo never played like that.
But that doesn't exist in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence did take that team to another level when he got there.
Right, but I'm saying Jimmy never put up numbers like this, like what Brock's doing.
Sure, because Brock's better.
Brock is better. I would agree.
But I mean, we've seen guys fill in. We've seen guys I can't even think of their names right now came in to fill in for Jimmy when he was down, and came in to fill in for Brock when he was down. Guys that are third string quarterbacks in this league have come in and played well and had really good games in that system. That doesn't exist in Jacksonville because that situation is not the same. Trevor Lawrence definitely has improved the Jacksonville team, and he has a playoff victory. I know that's saying That's not saying much, but that's saying a lot for Jacksonville fans. That comeback against San Diego a couple years ago was incredible to watch. So, I mean, he has moments of greatness. He's just got to really put it together, and I think he is deserving, maybe not of that much money. That's a lot of money. But he's the face of that franchise, man, and they're leaning into him. So, I mean, I get why these teams do that, because it's not easy just to let one of those kind of guys go, especially with the him being a first-round pick, first overall pick. That's a lot. This isn't a Baker Mayfield situation. He's definitely better than Baker is, but yeah, man, you pay quarterbacks in this league, and it kind of is what it is.
And as crazy as it sounds, though, Baker's had a much better career in the postseason than Trevor Lawrence has.
He's had more time.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. Yeah, it's 3 more years. I think it's 3 more years.
He's played for 4 teams.
Now, these are my 3 guys, but that doesn't mean I'm not opening up for this next season to change this list, because I do agree CJ Stroud could very well be on this list.
Yeah.
I believe that Jordan Love could be on this list.
Definitely.
I think if he puts up another baller season,
he's got a young, great coach.
Yeah,
too.
he's only 25 years old. And Anthony Richardson, I'm not giving up, dude. I think he's going to have an insanely great season.
Could have a Josh Allen-esque
oh my god
trajectory. Yeah,
I think this kid is going to be special in this league, man.
Yeah.
And there's other rookies, like you said, Caleb Williams could be one of those guys. One of the other dudes could shock us. The dude from Atlanta,
Michael Penix. Yeah,
he could become some dude. I mean, they're a little bit older, so maybe not. But the point I'm trying to make, though, is that there are other guys that I am open for this to happen to. But the reason why I've left some of the current other quarterbacks out that maybe you mentioned, when it comes to Joe Burrow in particular, I mean, we're talking about a guy that's already missed 15 games in his career due to injury. 15.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier, he's yet to throw a fourth quarter touchdown in 7 postseason games.
Yeah.
Like, that's bad.
It's damning.
And I think, and I take responsibility for this because I've done the same thing. I think greatness was just almost assumed and attached to Joe Burrow when he walked into the league. When, if we're being honest here, he hasn't really been great. He's had like a year and a half of really good football, and then had that run to the Super Bowl. But again, if you go and look at that, it's like he wasn't impressive.
And he's had nothing but extremely talented offensive weapons since he's been in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
running back, receiver, tight end.
If we're being honest about Joe Burrow, like, he's not been that impressive. Like, obviously, yes, he's been a good quarterback.
I think he's very good.
Is he great? No, I don't think he's great yet. Could he be? Sure, but he's already 27 years old, and it's hard. I don't know, man. It's hard for me. And I know some people are screaming right now. What about Lamar Jackson? Look, Lamar Jackson I love watching him play football. He's one of the most exciting players I've ever seen play in football. He's now got 2 MVPs, so obviously he's going to make the Hall of Fame.
Do you ever think he's going to win a Super Bowl?
No.
I don't either.
And it's not even just because Patrick Mahomes. It's because of the fact that, to me, Lamar doesn't have a game that's sustainable. He's not going to be a guy that plays in this league for 11, 12 years at a high level. He's just not. Because at the end of the day, Lamar is more about the athleticism than his precision throwing, and
he's a highlight reel.
Yes,
sure.
And I know that people think I'm dissing him, but he can throw the football, guys. I'm not trying to say he can deliver the ball.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do a price comparison of who can throw the ball, if your life's on the line right now and it's 3rd and 10, and you have the exact same weapons, let's say they got Justin Watson and Zay Flowers, right? So you have one Chief and another and a Raven, and they're both running the routes. Who do you believe is making that throw? Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, or Lamar Jackson?
I mean, I'll pick probably a good solid 6'7" quarterback before I pick
Lamar.
If I'm being honest, bro. If I'm just being honest with you, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers before I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
And to kind of steal this from Nick Wright. Nick Wright made a great point. He goes, the reason why he doesn't have him in the upper echelon of quarterbacks is because of the fact that you can't keep having your worst game of the season in your final game of the season.
Yeah, man,
dude. And look at his postseason career. And last season, he actually played his best football in his postseason career, and yet he still has a career 76 passer rating with 6 passing touchdowns to 6 interceptions in his postseason career.
And you can't tell me the guy hasn't had talent. He's had arguably the best tight end in football. Mark Andrews consistently is up there statistically with Travis Kelce. One of the best tight ends in football. He's had, just had Odell there last year. He's had numerous great running backs rotation. Now he has Derrick Henry coming over there. So, he's had opportunity. He's had all time, the last decade, some of the greatest defenses we've had. Still, the Ravens always build great defenses. So he's had opportunity after opportunity. So I hear the Lamar. I'm kind of.
I wouldn't pay him big money.
I wouldn't either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was actually kind of looking forward to the Ravens.
It's very volatile.
Yeah, last offseason when that whole thing was going down, I was like, you know what? Maybe the Ravens will be better off. And I know that sounds nuts.
No.
But maybe they'd be better off.
We've seen Tyler Huntley go in there and have great games too, and he's a similar player to Lamar. So I mean, obviously not the Lamar is, but the way that team is set up, you can win. It's similar to the Niners. You know, it's a you can bring in different quarterbacks and play to their skill set and lean on that defense and win a lot of games.
Now, we already talked about Trevor Lawrence. I don't want to rehash all that, because Trevor and I, we see that a little bit differently. I definitely wouldn't pay Trevor Lawrence at this point.
I think there's a lot of untapped potential with him. That's all.
I agree. But my thing is, we've seen almost 50 games now in his career, and I feel like after 50 games, you kind of know what a guy is.
Who'd you take, him or Justin Herbert? That's tough, man.
Well, I think Justin Herbert's a more talented player.
I do too. I
think Trevor Lawrence is the more polished player, though.
But I think Trevor Lawrence is better up here.
That's what I'm saying. Polished. I think he has the mental fortitude.
And the fact that he came back against him in that game, and Herbert didn't do jack shit in that entire second half. He absolutely crumbled. And I lost a lot of respect for Justin Herbert in that game.
I'm glad you brought up Justin Herbert because he's the final name I wanted to talk about. Because I do believe there's such a...
I like him a lot, man.
Of course. He's so much fun to watch.
He's got a rifle.
We watched his first game.
Maybe the strongest arm in the league.
I mean, Justin Herbert is a freak.
Yeah.
Like, to watch... He throws the football like a javelin. Like, he's so much fun to watch play football because he's 6'6".
He's mobile, too.
230, 240 pounds.
Yeah.
Just a humongous human being with this rocket of an arm.
Absolute king.
But he still finds a way to underwhelm. Like, if you go look at his first season in the league, I think he had like 36 passing touchdowns with like 10 interceptions.
Thrown to the Wolves immediately.
Yeah, he only like 10 interceptions, had like a 99 quarterback rating, had all these yards. He broke all these records for guys in their first 3 seasons and all that stuff, only because Patrick didn't play his first year.
I think he's going to play great this year, by the way.
Here's the thing, though, Trev.
Yeah.
Even with that season, he's never had a season like that again.
Sure.
Think about it. And here's the consequence with that. Coincidence. Is it any coincidence to you that his rookie season was the year where they had no fans and he played that well?
Yeah.
And since then, when he actually has road crowds to go against,
how's he going to handle pressure? Yeah.
All of a sudden, his numbers are dropping every single year. Like last year, he gets hurt, so you can't really avoid that. It was his throwing finger. I'm not going to really hold that against him. What I'm saying, though, is in the previous 2 years, he underwhelmed.
Yeah.
He did. And he throws the ball more than anybody in the league outside of Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady over the last 3 years.
That's going to change this season.
So, and here's my point.
That might help him, though.
Here's my point, though. If you're talking about committing this kind of money, let's say that we're talking about Trevor Lawrence's contract, you copy and paste it to every one of these guys we're talking about. If you give that kind of money to Justin Herbert, who is a supreme talent, will be 26 this year, you got to remember, he's had a bunch of weapons to throw to. Now he doesn't.
Yeah.
And not only that, like you just said, I do believe that Jim Harbaugh is going to try to implement a runs-first style of offense, or at least more run-friendly style of offense.
Quick strikes, quick throws.
And you could say that might help. But my thing is this, Trevor. If, let's say, this offense is successful by Justin Herbert becoming more of a conservative quarterback, is that really worth paying all that money to? Because you pay that kind of money to a guy that's the difference maker, not the guy that just stays out of the way. You know what I mean? Like Patrick Mahomes played a very delicate style of football last year because he had to.
Yeah.
Not because, it hasn't worked this way, so let's try to turn Patrick Mahomes into a conservative quarterback. Yeah. Like, that's what we're talking about when it comes to Justin Herbert. Like, oh, man, he can put up 4,600 yards a season. We're not winning shit, so maybe we should play conservative. If we do that, then maybe he'll stay out of the way and we can win games. Like, that to me sounds like a guy I'm not paying money to.
Sure.
So I feel like we've seen the physical peak of who Justin Herbert is, but is he going to turn it on mentally and be able to play the game to the level of some of these other guys like Josh Allen, like Patrick Mahomes, like Matt Stafford has? Like, is he going to be able to do that?
Especially if you got the likes of like the Jordan Loves and the CJ Strouds, guys are going to quickly overshadow him, even as a talent.
I told you I'd take CJ Stroud over Herbert in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
in a heartbeat.
Oh, he's already proven he's that guy. He's already proven he's that dog. Justin Herbert hasn't. Justin Herbert has proven the opposite. He's proven the opposite, honestly, especially in that, like I said, I'll go back to that Jacksonville game in the postseason. He absolutely fell apart in that second half.
Yeah.
With that massive lead going into half. Like, it was just, that was one of the worst blunders I've seen. Granted, a lot of that was terrible coaching too. I mean, situationally, that's what that team always does. So I think this coaching change will help Herbert be more of a winner. But the talent's going to remain. The talent's going to be there, but can he put it together? Like to your point, can he build that internal fortitude mentally to win against other talent that's quickly rising up the ranks above him to be worthy of that kind of money? So I don't know, man. But that was the wild card. I'm glad that was your guy to bring up too, because I think he's in that weird middle ground right now. Is he going to rise to the top? Is he going to start to kind of, dip down and be just a consistent jobber in the league?
If you notice,
which I hope happens, because
Jim
he's
Harbaugh
in our
had his success with the Niners with a very conservative quarterback in Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And then Kaepernick came along, and he was able to make some plays here and there with his legs, and some balls that he could throw that Alex Smith couldn't throw. And they all of a sudden went to the Super Bowl. Can Herbert become the next version of what that Kaepernick was? I do not know
who he's going to be throwing the ball to this season, but I do like the combination of him and Jim Harbaugh. I will say that. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to help him a lot, though. I do think that.
The final topic I want to get to you guys here before we get to you guys and speak it, and trust me, honestly, I'm looking forward to hearing your
guys'
get
your questions in. We don't have enough yet. Get some questions in.
Throw some questions in, as many as you guys want, man. We want to get to you guys. We want to be interactive today. But this I promise this segment's more about the Chiefs, guys. So I posted this poll on the 13th of this month because I'd seen a lot of conversations, and if you guys have not done it already, go ahead and join the Nico Remigio bandwagon. It's free. If you see right here on this poll, I put this poll up here: who will make more impact in the Chiefs offense this season?
I love it.
49% of you,
I love it, baby. Let's go.
Said that you believe that Nico Remigio will make the more impact of all four of these names. As much as I would love to celebrate this, because I obviously I believe in Nico, and I don't believe in any of the other three names on this list. This, to me, tells me more about the other three names than it tells me about Nico.
Damn, Justin Ross got more than Sky Moore. That's wild.
What this tells me, Trevor?
That's wild.
This tells me that everybody, if we're being brutally honest here, they're saying they're willing to move on to a guy that's an unknown than to deal with the same shit we've dealt from, and particularly Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. I don't put a lot on Justin Ross because he's basically just been a highlight reel at training camp. And I know I saw the training camp videos again. They're starting to resurface this year again, Trevor. Where they're posting fucking Justin Ross highlights, and I'm like, yeah, we're not doing this again. And Marcus Dash and JD, man, they're over at Chief Concerns like, no, we're doing this again. I respect it, guys. I look, JD and Marcus are so much more loyal than I am when it comes to this stuff. I'm more cutthroat. Look, guys, the way I see it is this. Justin Ross, as much as Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore had opportunities to take over in a season where the Chiefs were as inept at wide receiver as they have ever been in their history, and they did not do that. In fact, they did the opposite. Yeah. They did not play at a high level at all, either three of these guys. So I think fans are starting to catch on to this, that, hey, look, we may not know what Nico Remigio is, but we know what these other three are. And they're not enough. They're not good enough. They're not guys that we believe in. And I appreciate this. I mean, I'm going to be real with you. I'm commending Chiefs fans right now for making, because if this poll would have went any other way, I'd have been pissed off. Because you guys would be lying to yourselves. Yeah. Because there's nobody on this list that you could say with any definitivity, yeah, this guy, I think he's making an impact this year. You can't. Because these other guys, like I said, have had opportunities to do so, whereas Nico hasn't. And every time we've seen Nico get a chance at practice and training camp, he has emerged. He has shined. And preseason against the Saints, go watch that game again. He was catching every damn ball that was in his vicinity. Maybe he won't become something. But again, to me, this poll tells me more about the other three guys than it tells me about Nico anyway. I do personally believe that Nico's become an impact player in this offense. I'm not saying he's going to have 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I don't believe that's who he is. Sure. I do believe he could be that guy, though, that gets you 650 yards and 4 touchdowns. And if you have a guy like that in this offense, then give you 650 to 700 yards to 3 to 5, 6 touchdowns, that is a guy that makes impact in this offense. Those are the kinds of guys that Patrick Mahomes needs in this offense. Reliable assets that run their routes correctly and catch the damn ball. If you can do this, this offense is going to become fluid again. We talked about this on Arrowhead Allies on Tuesday, about how the reason why I'm buying into Nico Remigio is because I think he could be a lighter version of what Juju was in 2022. You saw losing Tyreek Hill.
I think he's got more juice than Juju.
And maybe he does. Yeah. But here's the thing. Juju's more of a naturally gifted athlete. He's 6'2", or 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds. Nico's about my height, and he's about 185 pounds. So what I'm saying, though, is if you can just do your job to the simplest form and the simplest ability of what Patrick Mahomes needs you to do, which, like I said, run crisp routes and catch the ball, this offense is going to get back to what it was in 2022. It won't be back to what it was in 2018 because 2018 had prime Tyreek Hill. That's different. That's just a whole other level of ability. But that's not what the Chiefs need in order to win Super Bowls. Like I've said, guys, they haven't missed Tyreek Hill. They've missed Juju. And they still won the damn Super Bowl. So if we could just make it a little bit easier on Patrick Mahomes here by just giving him a couple of pieces outside of Travis Kelce that can just catch the damn ball and run the routes to where they're supposed to be running it, because that's Sky Moore's problem. He doesn't run his routes correctly, and then Kadarius Toney can't catch the damn ball. That's why these two guys are on the odds with Chiefs fans. And Justin Ross is just a guy, like I said, that emerges in training camp, shows off some highlight reel stuff, but doesn't really show it in games, even when given opportunity to do so. So I think that Nico needs to get his shot, needs to get his shine and his opportunity, because we've seen in this league, guys that are late round picks, undrafted free agents, all of a sudden when they get a chance, when these guys get an opportunity to play their game, what do? They shine. Before last season, did anybody think that Puka Nacua was going to be what he was? He was a 5th round pick, and the RAS scores and his draft profiles are all like, he'll be a decent backup. And goes and gets maybe the best rookie season we've seen out of a wide receiver since Randy Moss. And I'm being serious. Like, he's a legit wide receiver 1 now already.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua has become that dude. I'm not saying that Nico's that guy. I'm saying, though, that I'm putting my foot on it, and I'm saying that Nico Remigio is making this roster, and I'm telling you, he's going to be a guy that Patrick Mahomes is going to trust with the ball and trust throughout the season. Barring any injuries, barring any setbacks, he's going to be a dude that is a legitimate weapon in this offense. What do you think when you see this poll, Trevor?
I mean, it makes sense because it's a little bit of the unknown to what we are. So we already know we don't like what Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore have done. So this poll makes sense. I just didn't expect, honestly, I didn't expect Justin Ross to be at 18%. That's pretty crazy, but it's not crazy at the same time just because of the hype behind him and the what if. And the Nico hype is warranted in my mind because we saw him, shine in the preseason and things like that, and he looked good. We haven't even seen really much of that at all from Justin Ross. Justin Ross I hope something can become of Justin Ross, but Nico has a lot of promise because I think he fits the mold of what Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid like. They like those guys, like we've said on the show numerous times, just catch the ball, do your job, be aggressive with the ball, but be smart at the same time. He's a true football player from what I've seen, a guy that loves the game, and I think those are the guys that Brett Veach and Andy Reid love to have a part of the team and the roster. So I think his odds just continue to climb, and I think he does make the team. Which says a lot because there's guys that are on this team still right now that I think he's already better than that probably shouldn't be on this roster, and we'll see how these cuts look and who we carry into this season. But barring health, man, I think Nico has a lot of promise, and I think he could be a really good red zone guy too. I think he could be like that Randall Cobb-esque kind of player for Patrick Mahomes that like Aaron Rodgers had, that really good guy that in the red zone that was a little undersized but just knew how to get to the spots and is a shorter, aggressive guy. He has that kind of skill set in my mind, so I love that. It's damning for Sky. I mean, it shows you what people are thinking, how they feel towards Sky, and some of it's his fault, some of it's not, but it's just the reality of the situation, and we're exhausted by the nothingness that his career has been. He's been here several years already and has shown nothing. I mean, I know he scored in the Super Bowl against the Eagles. So did Kadarius Toney, and those two guys are on the outs. And I've made my case for Kadarius Toney. I think the talent is 100% there. I can't even say that for Sky Moore. Yep. I don't know if the talent's there because we just haven't seen it. Kadarius Toney has the wiggle, has the ball skills when the ball is in his hands, but can he catch the ball? Can he hold on to the ball? Those are the questions. When he has the ball, he's great. He's an absolute NFL dog when he has the ball in his hands. Kadarius Toney has that skill set, but does he have it upstairs? Does he, the off the field shit, the shit talk towards the team, and there's just a lot of bad look things. I want the guys that I've said on the show so many times, man. I don't care about the name of the jersey to a degree. I want to win, and I want the best players for those jobs. I want those guys to win those jobs, right? I want the best players on the team. So when it comes to this poll, it makes sense, man. I mean, the hype behind Nico is incredible right now because he's been there since day one. He was at the Patrick Mahomes camp in Texas, warming up with those guys, getting reps in with Pat. Before the OTAs, before true practices start taking place. And I think he's a guy that everyone loves right now. And I think he's the underdog story that everyone loves. And I think he's a good spark plug for this team this offense heading into this, with some new faces, some fresh faces, with Hollywood Brown kind of leading the pack. The Rashee Rice news, this is kind of helping kind of temper some of that. We don't know what's going to happen to that yet, but this poll makes sense to me, man, because I think Sky Moore is on the outs with the fans, got a lot to prove, been here longer than all these guys, and has proved very little, so I think this gives Nico a great chance and to really extend this hype train and maybe, turn it into a career with the Chiefs. And I mean, no better situation for Nico to be in than in Kansas City. So I'm excited about this, man. I really am. I want to see him become something. So yeah, this poll honestly excites me, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, as it should, because that means that there might actually finally be some hope.
Yeah.
From a receiver in this offense outside of Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
Because this team needs that desperately.
Regardless of the investment that we put into, he's obviously like the lowest investment. He was unsigned free agent, undrafted free agent, so just made the team or made the practice squad, and it was a part of the team in that way. So these kind of stories exist every year. There's always one of these guys, and I love it.
I think Remigio would have made the team last year had he not got that shoulder injury. I really do believe that. And that's
over
why
Richie James or something like that. I think,
when I saw the Chiefs stash him on their IR, I was like, yeah, they want him. Like they see what I see. This kid's got it. There's something about him. Like I said, he doesn't jump off the board athletically. He doesn't, there's nothing special about his physical ability.
Do you think
just does his job?
Do you think the Justin Ross hype continues to be a thing every offseason just because of his profile?
I think it's, and he came from Clemson.
Sure.
I do.
I mean, his freshman year at Clemson was incredible.
I do. Because we saw 31-year-old Josh Gordon here getting hype.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
that was me. I mean, I love Josh Gordon, but I was all over that. I was expecting him to really do something.
I'm just hung up on the idea or the fact that, like I said, if Justin, because you guys remember that solo show I did after training camp when I went up there and saw Justin Ross. I'm like, all right, this dude's making the roster.
His profile is.
We were right.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, I didn't have any expectations. I'm like, he'll probably be a 200-300 yard guy at the most. Wasn't that? He got 10 catches last year. Yeah. Just never really took off. Yeah. And for me, when you have the quarterback and head coach that you do here in Kansas City, and you still can't excel, that to me tells me more about you than them. Like I'm gonna always have the back of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid when it comes to a guy that doesn't develop into a good receiver in this offense. Because what excuse do you have if you can't excel in this offense with that? How are you gonna excel anywhere else? That's why I never bought into MVS, because he had Aaron Rodgers in his prime and he was putting up 400 yards a year. Like, how am I supposed to believe you're gonna come here and change things or be better? Like, I think we know pretty quickly who's got it and who doesn't. And I just think that Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore have shown us they don't. I think Justin Ross has shown us that. And I hate to be so harsh, but I'm not going to keep putting the same guys out there and expecting different results when we've seen these guys now. Sky Moore's had, 33 games. Kadarius Toney's playing into his 40-some games. Like, we've seen these guys play. Justin Ross, this is year 3?
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to become something, it should have happened by now, in my opinion. And I'll be equally as critical on Nico Remigio. If he goes out there this season, plays all 16, 17 games, and puts up 315 yards and a touchdown, I'll be like, well, maybe I was wrong about this guy. Maybe he doesn't have what it takes. But I'm willing to give him the opportunity because he's the only one of this group that hasn't gotten his real chance.
Sure.
And so I think that's why I'm confident he's going to do something in this offense, because he matches what they're looking for. Like you said, I think he fits the scheme well, and I think that's why you're going to see him develop into something. So
I agree, man.
That's the poll, and that's where we're at, guys, on a lot of things right now. But we need to get to you guys and speak it. Trevor, what are the people asking out there, man?
All right, so earlier in the show, our guy Dustin Orton on YouTube shot this question. He said, "Loaded, speak it. Rank our wide receiver 1, 2, 3, 4, and other than left tackle, which to me isn't a competition. What other competitions are you interested in training camp?" Good question.
That back end was a very good question about the competitions that I'm looking at. I think that when it comes to ranking the receivers, seasons 1 through 4.
Yeah.
It's hard to rank rookies.
It's
hard to rank rookies. I do think Rashee Rice is the best receiver on this team. I think he's the one that has the real ability and potential to be a wide receiver 1 in this league, even though I think he's a high-end wide receiver 2. But because of his size and youth and ability, I think that he could potentially be a wide receiver 1 in this league. So I'll put him at the top of this wide receiver room. Hollywood Brown, without question, because of the fact that he's had a 6-year career to this point, and he has shown that he can be a high-end wide receiver 2 in this league. I don't think he's ever been going to be a wide receiver 1. I think Hollywood Brown is a burner, a good route runner, hell of hands, can track a ball down, but I don't think he's the kind of guy you build your offense around. He's a little receiver, and you don't like to build your offense around little receivers. That's why the Chiefs got him on a very marketable price, and will be a good asset for this offense. Outside of that, I think that you just have to go with what's safe. I think that you have to unfortunately go with a guy like Justin Watson. I think he's the most reliable guy outside of those other two that I just mentioned because we've seen him play. But that's scary because of the fact that you know that Justin Watson's not really a real difference maker in this offense. And then 4, you're talking about McCole Hardman. Now, I know someone's trying to choke me through the screen now because of Xavier Worthy. Guys, we haven't seen Xavier Worthy play. Yeah. How am I supposed to rank him when I don't know what he's going to be in this offense? And quite frankly, we haven't even seen him in OTAs. He's been dealing with this damn hamstring injury. So I haven't seen him play hardly at all in any regard.
Yeah.
So more than likely, yeah, Xavier Worthy will be better than McCole and Justin Watson. But until that happens, those are my 4, man. Yeah, and I'm sorry. And the competition, when it comes to competition, man, I think it's where all the depth's at. I think you have to pay real close attention to cornerback right now. I think cornerback and safety is where you're going to really be watching a lot of the depth games. And running back, quite frankly, outside of Isaiah Pacheco, who the hell is going to be playing running back with Clyde Edwards-Helaire or running back 1 or running back 3?
I think probably 2 right now.
Yeah, like what's going to happen with running back? So I'd say defensive back and running back are the 2 positions I'm going to be looking at when it comes to battles, because I agree with you. I think Kingsley Suamataia is going to win that job at left tackle.
Yeah. And as far as my rankings of wide receivers go, I'm right there with you. I think barring a suspension, which I think a suspension will come down at some point. So statistically, I think Hollywood Brown will be the wide receiver 1 this season. Statistically, I think he's going to get a shit ton of volume. I think this is a prove-it year for him to go get another big contract somewhere. So I think he's going to have a hell of a year here in Kansas City, and I think his skill set really meshes really, really well. And we've seen a lot of the clips and some of the footage with him and Patrick Mahomes. They seem to be really on the same page. And I think Hollywood Brown's a smart receiver and really good hands, and he's fast as shit. So I think those kind of guys will thrive in this offense, and I think Hollywood Brown's going to have a really big year this year. So I'm going to put him as my wide receiver 1, and my wide receiver 2 is Rashee Rice. When healthy and when available, I think Rashee Rice will be the most dominant weapon in the wide receiver room. I don't think that's a question. So I'm just giving him the number 2 just for that suspension reason. And then number three, I'm probably going to put McCole at number 3, honestly, and then Justin Watson at 4. Because Justin Watson, I know he's that more reliable kind of receiver kind of guy. He can fill in for more of that role, and he could probably do more with him. But McCole has that trust, and that trust factor to me is important for Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to put him there at 3 until proven otherwise. So maybe one of these other guys comes and maybe surprises us, and I'm hoping so, because that would just be a pleasant surprise. Because right now it's a pretty vanilla wide receiver room altogether. And hoping Xavier Worthy can get his health correct, because hamstrings are never something you want to deal with, especially leading into the beginning of the year. So hopefully they get that right and really nurse that and get him back to health, because I'm excited to see what this kid could become in this offense. And as far as competitions, I'm right there with you. I was going to say the DB situation. A lot of new names. We drafted a lot of DBs in this current draft. So hopefully a lot of these guys are fighting it out. And I'm really excited to see what Jamari Conner can become, if he can really rise to the top and become that dog. That versatile player that kind of, L'Jarius Sneed was next to McDuffie. I'm hoping that's the case. But a lot of new names, a lot of youth. Excited to see what Spags and Beach can come up with, with the continual revolving door of DBs on this team. So I'm excited to see that. That's definitely the training camp. And then running back, obviously, I agree with you too. We don't know shit. I wanted us to bring in the Leonard Fournette, a veteran, a savvy veteran guy like that. Cook. Yeah, Dalvin Cook. They're still out there. that could still happen.
Mm-hmm. They could be a July or August edition. Who knows?
Yeah, apparently Alvin Kamara's having, he's at odds with the Saints right now at their camp. I think he left camp. He's not finishing camp for personal reasons. So there's things like that. Maybe a trade can happen to bring Alvin Kamara over here. That'd be insane. But that's something like that could definitely happen. I don't think we're done with the running back room. So I think those are definitely. I agree with you, Lance. I think those are the ones to kind of keep an eye on. James Kirk. My guy, James T. Kirk. Just throwing this out. Does anyone really care about the typo, Miami 6 or 7 seed? Who cares? Well, I'm just going to say that this was going to be my L, but yeah.
I don't know if it's I mean, yeah, I do think people care.
It's definitely L-worthy.
Yeah, it's incorrect. It's an engraving on a ring that you won a Super Bowl champion. So yeah, I do think people care.
Yeah.
Am I going to sit here and let it ruin my day? No, but I do think that it's something that you at least point out. I mean, it's wrong. It's wrong information.
I'm sure the Dolphins fans care somewhat, but I mean, they got an L on that one. So, our next one, our guy Brian Simcox. What's up, Brad? Or Brad?
Red Chief, baby.
What's up, Brad? Do we finally see Mahomes behind the back pass in a game this year? He's been doing it quite a bit during this training camp.
You know, this has been such a focal point on our training camp for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That I want Patrick just to do it so we can stop talking about it, because it is such a topic, man. And I get it, you know, because it looks fun, it looks exciting, and he seems to always, you know, stick the landing with it whenever he chucks it out there. I'm kind of hoping they do. I'm hoping that last season I was convinced they were going to do it against the Bears. In fact, I think I predicted it.
Yeah.
That because I knew the Chiefs were going to blow out the Bears. I'm like, well, why don't they just, like, you know, they're up 38-10 or whatever. Like, let's just go fucking do it in a red zone play. They didn't do it. I'm hoping it happens this year because, like I said, we talk about it every damn offseason. Patrick obviously runs it, so you know he wants to do it. Andy said he's got 51% of the vote. Hopefully that 51% of the vote goes with a yes, because a lot of fans, including our guy Brett Chief, has been asking and waiting for it to take place.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun, sexy thing to see during camp. I honestly don't really want him to do that in a game. I mean, it'd be cool to see, but it has to be like an absolute blowout game where you're just like, it's just shitting on the opposition, whoever we're blowing out.
Which is great.
That would be the only time to do it, because if it turns into a turnover in a costly game, that cannot happen.
No.
And that would be embarrassing for Patrick Mahomes. That very low point of his career if that happens, especially if we lose a game because of something like that happening. So I only hope it happens if we're up 40 at some point or whatever. I don't really care about that, but it's a fun topic, but it's starting to get a little old at some point here. Chiefs Hive, what's up, Chiefs Hive from Twitter, from X? Am I wrong, or is Trevor Lawrence an overrated scrub?
I don't think he's a scrub. I think that he's overrated in a sense that he was the first overall pick.
Yeah.
He's just now he's got the highest amount of money by a quarterback ever. And I don't think he's lived up to the hype and the potential of what he was supposed to be.
He's not the prince that was promised yet.
I mean, he may have been the most hyped quarterback to ever come out of college.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. Like, outside of like Andrew Luck, I don't know if there's ever been a more hyped quarterback outside of coming in.
When you're that successful in college, I mean.
And here's the crazy thing, Char. I don't know if I even told you this, but over the last 3 years, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have more passing touchdowns than Trevor Lawrence, and neither one of them played last season.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
The numbers were bad, especially last year. It was rough.
So I don't think he's a scrub, because I don't think Trevor Lawrence sucks.
No, I think he's.
I think he's the top 12 to 14 quarterback in the league. I think he's a top 15 quarterback without question, just based on skill set, ability, things of that nature. But his production has to go up.
Yeah,
and they've got to start having some playoff success. If your only playoff success to this point has been coming back against the fucking Chargers, that's not a lot. So no, I'm gonna say he's overrated, but he's definitely not a scrub.
Yeah, he's overrated too from what he's gotten, what he got paid, and he's overrated from what he's actually done in his career as an NFL starting quarterback and being the first overall pick. There's a lot of pressure there. I do think he's going to develop into himself, and I think he's going to find his rhythm, and I think he's going to become a great player in this league. I really do believe that. I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot. I think he already has it upstairs, in my personal opinion. He's just got to really get consistent with his skill set and really find his rhythm of who he is as a player. And I think, that not everybody's CJ Stroud. Not everybody comes in the league, or Patrick Mahomes in their first year and just dominates the league. Takes the league by storm. Trevor Lawrence had a lot of pressure on him coming into the league, and I think he's had some low moments. He's been very inconsistent, but I do believe in the talent that he has, and I think he's got it upstairs. I think he's ready to go. He's just got to really put it together and be consistent. Once he does that, I think he's going to be a great quarterback in this league.
Saw our guys over at All Chiefed Up, Trevor and Lance. Hope you all are good.
Oh, yeah. What's up, guys?
Williams Brothers, hope you guys are good as well. We love you guys. I know you guys have been kicking ass this offseason. My God, every time I turn around, you guys are popping up new content. You guys do great, man. I'm telling you guys and Chief Concerns, man, you guys keep us on our toes. You guys keep us updated. We are doing great here. We're glad to be a part of what we're doing out here in the Chiefs community, brothers, and we can't wait to get you guys back on the show. And let us know when you guys are in town again, man, because we got to definitely hang out, get Trevor connected with you guys as well, because we had some good times, man, at Ďarda. That was some good conversations. So, Mike, Steve,
we'll have to go to Slaps this time. Show you guys some real good ones.
Yeah, dude, we'll take you over here on the Kansas side of things, man. You guys will definitely love it. Yeah, Mike and Steve, great dudes. If you guys are doing a show tonight, definitely follow their show, guys. I'm sure most of you guys are already following All Chiefed Up, but if you're not, go hit All Chiefed Up on YouTube. Help them out with that as well, because YouTube's always trying to fuck them over for whatever reason. But they do great stuff over there, man. So shout out to you guys. Love you all. Hope you all are doing good as well.
Shout out to the boys. All right, next question from our guy James T. Kurt. First question: is it me, or does everyone feel a little angrily about Mike Florio talking down on the Chiefs? This is a yearly thing, my guy.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason why. That's the reason why, because it does feel personal. It feels personal with Florio. Like, there's some guys in media that when they start to take random attacks at certain, like if you look at Stephen A. Smith right now, and he keeps dissing JJ Redick and LeBron's podcast.
Yeah,
it's because it's kicking his podcast's ass, and it has access that Stephen A's doesn't. It has two former players that are breaking down film, and people are intrigued and interested in that. And Stephen A's doesn't have that, so there's jealousy and there's
I mean, you have
resentment.
A handsome ex-player that has a face for camera, and then you got the greatest basketball player of all time on a podcast.
Yeah.
You think you're going to compete with that?
That's
bro?
what I'm saying. So I think when it comes to Florio, I can't tell you guys why he feels the way he feels about the Chiefs. I don't know if he had a bad run-in with Andy Reid back in the day, or I don't know what it is, but he's always found a way to negate, discredit, and this isn't like a one-off thing. Like I remember, you guys remember back 10 years ago when Joe Buck was
ego issue.
When Joe Buck was getting destroyed because he was praising Madison Bumgarner during the World Series. Guys, it's because Madison Bumgarner was destroying the Royals. You talk about the best player in the series.
He's insane.
So yes, I understand people were getting sick of Joe Buck, but Joe Buck was doing his job. It's different when Florio's doing, though, because it's almost like he's seeking things out for clicks, or he's seeking things out to try to discredit what the Chiefs have done over the last 5-6 years. And it just, yes, I do believe
it's a good business model.
Yeah, there's a justification for how Chiefs fans feel towards Florio, because it does feel like a witch hunt.
Yeah. He's got the pitchforks. Yeah, for sure. I love it, honestly. I hope it continues, because this is the kind of stuff, like I've always said it, dude, like since even the early runs in 2019 and 2018 when the Chiefs were really kind of becoming into their own, they're setting up this dynasty. We need that bulletin board material, especially now more than ever. Going for a three-peat, we need all the shit talk possible. We need all the Andy Reid is going to retire this season shit possible. We need all the Travis Kelce's, this is his last year. Patrick Mahomes, his numbers are declining. We need all of it. This is a regress year again. I want all of those. I hope there's more of that than positive talk, because positive talk doesn't get us anywhere. That doesn't give us an edge, right? That's a nice, handsome, nice, happy prep talk. Pep talk is not going to get the Chiefs rallied up. We want that. We want that negative. I mean, just like Travis Kelce, the Super Bowl ceremony stuff when they're bringing all the players out and all the people were booing him and at the stadium. He's like, I love the boos more than cheers, baby. That's the kind of stuff that we need. That's what fuels this team. So I hope Florio continues to make a career off the shit talk of the Chiefs and is making up rumors about our coach going away. That stuff's fun for me, man. I love it, because revisiting it and playing, the revisionist history of all of it is fun. It's fun to look back on, especially when we continue to succeed nonetheless. So
All Chiefed Up said Mike Glory Hole. I love that. That's Mike Glory Hole is a clown. Perfect name for him, guys. We're gonna from now on. He's
let
Mike
the memes
Glory Hole.
go make the memes, people.
From now on,
go
he's Mike Glory
memes.
Hole. So yeah, and that is funny too, because I said, remember Trevor, when he first started putting out those rumors, Mike Glory Hole was saying that Andy Reid was in talks of retiring. The Chiefs were prepared for it, and I said, watch Andy Reid go and sign an extension for just to say, you know what, fuck you, dude. Now I'm going to lean into it. Now I'm going nowhere anytime soon, and that's exactly what happened.
Dude.
He's extended for another 5 seasons.
What do you call him, Eddie Munster?
Yeah, Eddie Munster. That's what I've always called him, Eddie Munster, bro.
Eddie
Munster, all grown up, and he's a little bitch.
See, that's what makes this stuff fun. Like, this stuff's more fun than like the happy stuff in my I'm serious, bro. This shit, putting like the doubters to sleep and putting them to bed and then letting them wake up and start it over again just so we can put them to bed again. That kind of shit it makes my day. That's way more fun to me than like all the happy-go-lucky talk and like, all the support from like the fans, and like this stuff is just what makes the victory so much sweeter. So I hope it continues all year. I hope we have like a little slump where people are doubting us again. Like that's like a bad game here.
Well, they already are. Like I said, Jason McIntyre.
There's no way, no chance.
Yeah, there's no way they can do it.
There's no way.
Bro, I love it, man.
Even though they're the fucking odds leaders, there's no fucking way.
Did he say fucking?
No, I wish he would have. There's no fucking way. It just sounds better.
Oh my god.
Throw a fucking into anything,
Like
it
Joe
just sounds
Pesci,
better.
bro.
Yeah. Oh man.
Fucking.
He's a little fucking muskrat, dude. He's just, I can't stand
I love it,
McIntyre,
dude. We need those people. We need them. They're needed.
Yeah.
They are needed.
Mike Glory will never change.
They are needed.
Shout out to All Chiefed Up for that nickname. That's fucking hilarious.
So good, dude. That's gonna be. I'm about
That's so good.
some weird dreams tonight. All right. Next question from our guy Paul Hansen on YouTube. Let's say that the Chiefs keep 7 wide receivers and Rice is suspended for the first 4 games. Who are the 7 receivers that are making the roster?
Well, I'm assuming he's still counting Rashid.
They don't want
right?
to talk about receivers though, Lance. Why we keep
Hey,
talking about
Lance, quit talking about receivers, goddammit.
Yeah,
Why are you bringing them up all the time, Lance?
beating a dead horse here?
Y'all doing it to me, man. I can't help what you guys want. The people want what they want, Trevor. And, you know, they're going to get mad at Stephen A. because he didn't talk WNBA 3 years ago when no one was talking WNBA. I digress.
Well, before we get to this question, I don't know if you saw that T. Higgins did sign that
He did his tender?
Yeah.
He got his tender?
Yeah.
I still think he's going to get traded, though.
I think
he's still getting traded. But, okay, to your question, though, Paul, I'm assuming are you still counting Rashid towards the 7, though? Because even if he's suspended, he's still on the team.
I'm going to say he's not counting him because I think that's why he threw in the comment, the segue of.
I promise this is not me.
caveat.
This is not me dodging your question. This is me trying to contextualize it. I think if Rashid is suspended, let's say for the first month in your scenario, let's say your scenario is accurate. I don't think the Chiefs keep 7 receivers. They don't have 7 receivers to keep. Because you saw this last season with Rashid Rice instead, as a rookie receiver they were high on, you wouldn't replicate that mistake. That was a mistake. Keeping 7 receivers last year was an absolute mistake for the Chiefs.
It was a waste of space.
There was only 2 good, even decent good guys in their wide receiver room last season.
I mean, I understood the logic behind it because we didn't know.
Right. Now you do.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to just take a stab at it. If Rashid is suspended for the first month, Hollywood Brown, 100%. Xavier Worthy, 100%. Nico Remigio, I'm almost 100%. McCole Hardman, 4. Justin Watson, 5. Outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are the 5 guys I feel very, very good about making this team. But because here's the thing, guys, and not to go back on it, if Nico Remigio does make this roster, there is no reason for Kadarius Toney. If McCole Hardman makes this, let me flip that. If McCole Hardman makes this roster, there's no reason why Kadarius Toney is on this roster because McCole does everything better, right? Name one thing that Kadarius Toney does better.
I don't think McCole is more talented though.
I'm not saying that. You don't have to be more talented to do things better. Because we both agree that Herbert's a more talented quarterback.
I think with the ball in their
Trevor Lawrence
hands,
does things better.
I think with the ball in their hands, I'd much rather have Kadarius Toney.
You would?
He's a far more talented. He has way more wiggle, way more his ability to make guys miss, and he's better with the ball in his hands, finding ways to get downfield than McCole is. In my personal opinion, McCole's a straight line runner. He's not a guy that's going to go make guys miss. Dude, Kadarius Toney, it's an up here issue, and its abilities to obviously health is an issue as well. But I think he's more talented than McCole.
I would agree he's more talented. My point though is
trust is a massive.
My point though is that we both agreed Herbert's the more talented quarterback between him and Trevor Lawrence, but we both would take Trevor Lawrence because he's a smarter quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would take McCole Hardman because he knows the offense.
That's a onesie position, but
he's a more. You know what I'm saying though, just in the comparison.
I wouldn't mind having both McCole.
I'd rather have the guy that knows the offense that can be trusted in this offense than the guy who's talented out the ass, but fucks things up every time he's on the field.
Okay, so you have those 5 guys in place, but if it did come down to McCole or Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney making the roster, which one would you think would make the roster?
Sky Moore.
Okay.
And the biggest reason why
I think he's had Andy Reid's backing the majority of the time too. I think that matters.
It's because of the fact he's available.
Yeah.
He doesn't start shit off the field.
There's been no negative things outside of his performances.
Everybody loves Sky Moore.
True.
Everybody loves Sky Moore.
Yeah.
But I do worry about his on-field stuff, obviously. He's not productive, obviously.
Yeah.
But even our guys, I guarantee you, all Chief Dubs is saying it right now, they're not using him correctly.
Yeah.
So at least he has that defense. There is no defense for Kadarius Toney.
He's cost us. Literally cost us.
Yeah, I think he's barbecue chicken, bro. I think he's done.
I hate it.
I think he's done.
I want him to be good, man. God damn it.
What other reason would they bring McCole Hardman back unless they had true doubts about Kadarius Toney?
Yeah, it's a safety. It's a safety net.
Yeah. So those are my 5. I would say that again, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Nico Remigio, McCole Hardman, Justin Watson. For sure, those 5.
I mean, I think that only makes sense. I mean, I know people are going to want to throw Justin Ross in there, but guys, that is a pipe dream still to this point until he actually get some live bullets. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not happening at this point, man.
Yeah.
It's just not. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope it. But this is several years now. We've tried to make this a thing, and it continues not to be. And he wasn't even getting in as bad as 𝚑𝚘𝙬𝙀 Toney and Sky Moore was last year. Justin Ross couldn't sniff the field.
Right.
So that should tell you a lot of things there. And I think we talked about that last year ad nauseum.
Trust is everything with Andy Reid, man.
Yeah. Yep. And if anything, like I said, out of those guys, Sky Moore he's had ranting reviews and backing from Andy Reid himself. He continues to gloat on the kid. So hopefully this season can be the year he takes off, and then we can trade him. All right. Next one from our guy James T. Kirk. Derek White, still just a glue guy for the Celtics. LOL. Yesterday was a mulligan.
I told Trevor, first of all, fuck everybody.
He is a glue guy.
I said he's 100% a glue guy, and I will stand by that because Derek White's not a star.
No.
He is a glue guy. I think that people took that.
He's the fifth best player on that Celtics team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's, come on, man.
Fuck you guys, man.
I get it because he's been good. He's been very good.
He's a very good player.
He's a very good defender for sure.
Yes.
One of the best on-ball defenders in this league.
Good shooter, good passer.
Yeah, but he's very streaky offensively.
Go start a team with Derek White, Trevor. I'm gonna start a team with Jason Tatum. Let's see which one.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go down the list of players on that team, and he'll be 5th or 6th on the list of the best players.
Yeah, I mean Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford.
Right, he's better than Al Horford.
Okay, maybe not, you're probably
he's
right.
definitely better.
In their careers, though, it's clearly Al Horford. But you're right.
Yeah. Derek White is a solid player now, and every team needs a guy like him.
Right.
For sure. He's like a Kyle Anderson kind of guy, you know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
For the Timberwolves. Those are the kind of guys you need.
And when it comes to game 4, I told Trevor this last night, and I don't mean to take anything away from the Mavericks, but is it any coincidence to you guys that the Mavericks happen to have their best game in a game that the Celtics didn't actually need? Like, the series is over.
They're going back to Boston.
The series is over. The teams that Teams that go up 3-0 in the series are 156-0. Maybe I will be wrong, and one day that there will probably be a team that comes back from 3-0.
Yeah.
Or 0-3. But my point is, guys, this Celtics team, they knew last night what they did. You saw Mazzulla. It was what he. All right, hey, look, we have a home game. Worst case scenario, game 6, right, or game 5.
We know Kyrie's ass in Boston.
Yeah, like they know they're confident because the first half. Let's see what the Mavericks do. Let's see if they punch it. Let's give it our best. If it's not good enough, we're sitting starters and we're waiting for game 5, and we can celebrate at home. I believe the Celtics wanted to win last night. Okay, I do believe that, but they like I said, it was strategy. Let's see if we get
obliterated, bro.
What I'm saying is, like, what if the game was close?
Yeah,
and they're like, all right, we can win tonight. Oh no, the Mavericks came out, played their best basketball of the series by far, and the Celtics were like, all right. Let's concede. You saw it, Trevor. In the middle of the third quarter,
that was crazy.
Mazzulla was taking starters off.
That was crazy.
That's conceding. He's like, all right, cool.
They were down 40 points, but
you got your game. Now it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we get a game 6.
I think it's
hopefully we get a game 7. I don't think it's going 7. I think it's going 6.
I think it's going 7 and Celtics win.
And this is coming from the guy that fucking picked the Mavericks in this series like a jackass.
I think it's going 7, dude. I think it's gonna end up being a great series. I think the Mavericks win 2 more.
I think there's a better chance that it ends the next game than goes 7.
I don't know, man.
I think the Celtics.
I think the Mavs.
They're significantly better.
Jason Kidd's an incredible head coach, and I think he figured something out. I think they figured something out, honestly. And I think if Porzingis is remaining in and out of the lineup and playing limited.
If they win game 4, I will. Or they win game 5, I will give you that.
Yeah.
I just think that, like I said, I think there was just too much context to what happened last night. I think the Celtics just bent the knee. They're like, all right, we're up 3-1 now.
Sure,
we're going back home.
I think it was a combination of both things last night. I think the Mavericks did figure something out against the Celtics defense, and the fact that they continue to put Jason Tatum on the centers of the Mavericks, and there are a lot of backdoor cuts, and that plays right into what the Mavericks want to do because that's Luka's game. He likes to find the guys cutting. So, and Luka, anytime Luka's drawing a double team, you double him, you better have somebody ready to watch that wide open guy because he's going to find him.
Sure.
You know, so he's had that LeBron effect where he'll find the open guy at all times, no matter the floor he's on. He's incredible at that. So I think this. I called this game I called this series going to 7 and the Celtics winning at home. But I mean, it's gonna be tough for the Mavs win 2 more in a row here. But I do think the Celtics take this series for sure. But I think it goes 7.
Our guy Scott rolling. Scott rolling. He put on there. On the Herbert point, he had Shane Steichen his rookie year too. Just want to point that out. 100%, man.
Yeah.
Shane Steichen is a fucking guru.
Yeah.
I am such a. If I'm
is a
so
great
serious right now when I say if Andy Reid was to retire after this next season, there are like 2-3 coaches, if that,
Sean McVay for me.
if that would take over Shane Steichen and replace Andy Reid. Like it's Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and that might be it. Like legitimately, that might be it.
Yeah.
Like outside of those two guys, I don't know if I'd want another head coach to take over Andy Reid than Shane Steichen. He is an absolute genius. Offensive.
I do like
genius.
what's his name in Minnesota. He's locked up though.
Oh, O'Connell. Yeah,
O'Connell. dude,
That's
I
not a bad
love-
pick.
I
That's not a
love
bad
that
pick.
guy.
Yeah. And it's gonna be interesting to see what he does with JJ McCarthy and
It's a good fit.
Sam Darnold.
I'm not a McCarthy fan, but I think that's a good fit for him.
It's a good fit.
I think he can have an Alex Smith, maybe a little bit better than Alex Smith kind of.
He plays like Joe Burrow. He really does. He really does play like Joe
That's
Burrow.
a lot of praise, man.
Yeah, but then again, we're seeing what Joe Burrow Joe Burrow had a stacked roster in both his last year of his college year and most of his Bengals. We've never really seen Joe Burrow have to carry a team.
That Michigan, that defense was the better part of that team, though. For that,
But JJ McCarthy had to carry them on third downs. Like
had one of the best running back, if not the best running back.
No doubt. Michigan team was amazing. I'm saying JJ McCarthy though on like 3rd and 12s, 3rd and 11s.
I'm not saying he's bad by any means.
Jim's like, all right, go save us. And he'd have to do it.
I just don't know how much his talent is going to translate to the NFL. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I think he landed in the best spot possible for him. I think that's a great situation. You have the best receiver in football on your team already.
Yep.
You have an incredible young head coach that's pacing, himself to be one of the better coaches.
Hell of a tight end.
So yeah, and they're building a good defense over there again. They're starting to rebuild that defense again. So we'll see, man. But I do like O'Connell a lot as a head coach. I think he's a really smart, bright guy. All right, last question from our guy James T. Kirk. Why did Conor pull out of this upcoming UFC fight? Is he done?
We don't know, dude.
Yeah,
There's been so much. I've been following Ariel Helwani, who's one of the most well-connected guys in the UFC, even though him and Dana White hate each other. It's been so weird, man. Like, I know it's an injury, according to what everybody's been saying. They won't specify on said injury, and it wasn't until like 2 days ago we found out that it was officially done.
Yeah.
That the fight was over. And then to top it all off, my favorite fighter in the world, Khamzat Chimaev, had to bow out in his fight because he got severely sick. So we know what his issue is. He's severely sick. We don't know what's going on with Conor. And yeah, in my opinion, I told Trevor this and a couple buddies of ours in a group chat. At this point, what would be the outside of like a big time cash grab for the UFC and maybe kind of Conor McGregor? What would be the point of him fighting ever again?
It has to happen, man.
I trust me. I want to see him fight again. I miss watching Conor McGregor.
The greatest
but my point
showman the
is,
sport's ever had.
we're never going to see 2016 Conor McGregor again. That guy's gone forever.
But the version we have now is still such a wild boy, bro.
But we don't know how good of a fighter he is.
It's
anymore.
true, and he's like, he's heavier.
The last time we saw McGregor in an octagon was over 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And he got his ass handed to him. And then his leg snapped. Like, we don't know what he is anymore. Does he have that same hunger, drive, skill set, all those things? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you.
Questions.
And I told Trevor this. I'm pretty sure you guys knew this too. If this fight was to go down, I was going to pick Chandler without hesitation. Because I think Chandler's the better fighter now. He's more in stride with things. And I feel bad for Chandler.
Well, he's been in the
He's
octagon.
been fucking waiting forever for this fight.
Yeah.
Because he knew this was going to be a big time payday for him.
Yeah.
And he's done everything he was supposed to do. Did everything right.
Especially if he beats Conor, that'd be on top. I mean, the cherry on top.
If I'm Conor McGregor, I'm like, bruh, I am the most important UFC fighter ever. I'm the most popular fighter in the world. I'm one of the most popular people in the world now.
Yeah.
I got a ton of money. Why would I need to go in there and get my head bashed in for 3 to 5 rounds? What's the point? Like, what does it benefit him?
I mean, the love of the game, the love of the sport. I mean, we've seen guys like Chuck Liddell and all these guys that were greats too. They go fight it was hard for them to give it up, but
they go fight some putty head. Don't fight Michael fucking Chandler. Michael Chandler will kill you. Like, yeah. I think Michael Chandler would beat the shit out of him.
I think it'd be a good fight, man. Honestly, I do. I think I'll be picking Conor, obviously, but
would you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't ever pick against Conor, bro. But yeah, this is one of my biases I have. But I don't know, man. I don't know why they haven't, like you said, they haven't given us anything, and it's really honestly frustrating as a UFC fan, as someone who's really looking forward to this card. Yeah, man. I don't know, and I'm sure Dana White's pissed because he's been marketing this. And that's
God, he wanted
that hurts him, as far as his marketability and
what is it? The 3 highest pay-per-view buys of all time is Conor McGregor.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I don't know, man. This definitely is just not. It's not a good look for MMA. It's not a good look for the UFC for this to continue to happen with Conor. I'm hoping it happens eventually, though.
This is the first time he's ever bowed out of a fight, though.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this sucks because Connor's never, when a fight's been announced, he's always fought.
But it's as far as this has been discussed for so long leading up to this fight, and now it's actually officially not happening. Like, we've had so many questions: is it happening? It's not happening. Oh, it's happening. It's not happening. Now it's officially not happening. It
sucks, man.
Damn, bro. Like, what do we get?
We've been waiting forever for this shit.
I think he's eventually gonna get a fight here, but
he better fight. He better fight like the next version of Donald Cerrone. Because that's what, remember that his last win was against Donald Cerrone.
Yeah.
And he beat the crap out of Donald Cerrone. That's what he needs. He needs to go out with a win.
Sure.
Go and him and, like, let's say Tony Ferguson is still around by that time.
It depends.
Beat the fuck out of Tony Ferguson.
It depends if he wants this to be his last fight. Does he? I mean, does he want to continue to fight after this? I don't know.
Dude.
Is the money worth it?
No,
for him?
I think honestly, if Connor was to ever fight again, it's one more fight.
He's probably making more money on whiskey, bro.
Sure, he's 35 now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what more does he got going for him? I mean,
it's the same thing with John Jones. Is he going to come back and fight too?
Well, I think John's situation is different because John doesn't make the money that McGregor does outside of the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, the UFC,
but
still benefits John.
But it's even more so on John's end. He's the GOAT.
Yeah,
he's got more to lose. In my personal opinion, I mean, marketability, Connor's got it. Connor's the greatest at marketability, but Connor's nowhere near the greatest. I mean, he's near the greatest of his weight class and things he's done as far as greats in this league. But John Jones is the GOAT.
Well, I don't think John, whenever he does fight again, which I do believe will happen.
And what he did to Cyril Gane was insane.
Yeah, he will not fight Tom Aspinall. He won't fight Sergey Pavlovich.
Yeah, that's a scary man, bro.
No, because I think Aspinall could beat him.
Yeah,
I could beat him.
I would pick Jones still, just because.
I think Jones is fighting Stipe.
Aspinall is
I think he's fighting
dog,
Stipe.
dude.
I think it'll be a 42-year-old Stipe versus 37-year-old John
You think
Jones.
he fights Stipe?
Yes, and he's gonna kill him. And then it's gonna be over. And then John's gonna retire.
I hope he doesn't fight Steve.
John's gonna retire. What would his record be at that point? Like 23-1, and his one loss isn't even a real loss.
Yeah,
it's a fucking disqualification. So
he's already got he's already got Dana White boners.
No, Stipe wants to fight because Stipe is gonna make like $10 million on that fight.
Of course, man. Of course.
So of course he wants that fight.
Yeah.
Stipe is gonna get his ass kicked. Because, like you said, Cyril Gane was 30 years old,
Dude,
and Bones beat him in, 30 seconds?
That was the most insane shit.
Dude. Yeah, wasn't Cyril Gane, the number
he was
two?
He was the number one, I believe.
Oh, fuck me.
I think he was the number one heavyweight at the time.
That was go watch, guys, after the show, if you didn't watch that fight, go watch Bones Jones versus Cyril Gane. It is over in,
if you got 30 seconds.
I mean, you won't spend any time. You can hold your breath and watch it. Like, it's amazing how, and that was Bones' first fight, not only at the heavyweight division, but in 2 years.
Yeah,
and he came back and just I'll just beat the fuck out of Cyril Gane.
And Cyril Gane's one of the most skilled heavyweights in the fucking.
So I do think Bones will be back, but I don't think he's going to fight Tom Aspinall. I don't think he's going to fight Sergey Pavlovich.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to fight any of these dudes that could beat him. I think he's going to fight 42-year-old Stipe Miocic, and he's going to beat the fuck out of him, and he's going to call it a career. And I don't blame him.
And him and Stipe have history, so it's still a draw.
And I don't blame him, though, because Bones, to his credit, has fought all the best fighters his whole career.
Yeah, he's beat them all.
Ran through the light heavyweight division when the light heavyweight division was the best in the world. It was the best, deepest division in the world, and he ran through it.
Yeah.
With Shogun Rua and Machida and Daniel Cormier. And he ran through all those guys. He ran through all those dudes. So, yeah, man, it's just win one more fight. You're the GOAT. No one will ever debate that. John is by far the greatest fighter who's ever fought. And I love what Dana's been doing. It's been a great PR stunt.
Yeah,
He's like, John Jones is the greatest fucking fighter of all time. John Jones. You put him in a room with 15 other guys.
Yeah.
He's coming out.
When you're talking when you're talking pound for pound.
Yeah, you're talking pound for pound. Sorry.
John Jones.
It's John Jones.
Yeah. I love it, dude. I love those. That
with
clip
his
is so
wrinkles in his forehead.
The boner he had when he was saying that dude was.
He's kissing so much ass because he knows that he needs John Jones at least one more time.
Yeah,
because their pay-per-view sales are not. You see the Dustin Diamond.
It was pretty bad.
It was bad.
Which was frustrating.
500,000 pay-per-view buys.
That was a great card, though, man.
It was awesome. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The purists are still watching.
It is a bummer.
And it's still a growing sport.
It is a real bummer that Chimaev, because I think Chimaev has a trajectory here to where he can become up there with the best.
He's only 29 years old.
He's insane, dude. That really sucks.
Yeah. Hamzat's my dude, bro.
I'm with you on that, bro. He's so fun to watch.
We need to get our guy Blake Sneeders back on the show and talk some MMA.
Yeah, man.
I miss Blake. I need to get him back on the show. He knows the shit when it comes
Blake.
to... Yeah. He's been working with 610. Been doing some production.
I've heard him on there.
Yeah. So, need to get him back on the show. Miss him.
Absolutely, man.
Was that all the questions?
That was all the questions.
Man, you guys... That was good. Hey, it was quick. We did, and we had fun. So... kind of like my sex life. So that's where we're at, guys. We appreciate you guys and Speak It. We do that every single week. I tell you guys at the bottom of every single show, tell you at the top of every single show, get on youtube.com. You guys know the website, right? You're familiar with the app? Okay, good. Go there, go to the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, hit like, hit share, all that cool stuff, man. We very much need that. We very much appreciate it, too, because we're trying to get up there with our boys. Like I said, at All Chiefed Up, they're killing it. Chief Concerns, they're killing it. Everybody's doing really well. We're just trying to get up in those rankings as well, man, trying to get this thing monetized so we can do other things with this show that we can't do right now, at least from the YouTube's perspective. Yeah. So we can only do that with your guys' help. So tell your friends about us. You guys continue to be great like you guys are right now, and getting that algorithm, help us continue to grow this show on the YouTube side of things by getting in the live chat as well. You guys have no idea how valuable your presence is on our show. So we very much appreciate every single time you guys jump in, ask questions, or just chat with us. Just give us takes, whatever you guys have for us, man. We very much appreciate when you guys do so. And we appreciate it, man. Ruben Cruz went off at the very end as well. Yeah. Obviously, he's an MMA guy. We appreciate Ruben. We appreciate Scott Rowland. Our guys at All Chiefed Up, James T. Kirk, Paul Hansen. We even had Auto Dictate Professor. That's a cool name.
Hell yeah.
We had a lot of great people on here. Obviously, our Brit Chief buddy was on here. And then our buddy at How About Them Chiefs, Cole DeRuse, was on the show. Dustin Orton. Cheever 65 Toss Power Trap was on. Man, we appreciate every single one of you guys. That's just on the YouTube side of things. I'm sure there's several other people that were commenting as well that I'm not even seeing on the screen. You guys are very much appreciated and valuable to what we do here, man. You're integral to what we do here. Trevor, we have one more order of business to get to. What is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports, whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports. We promise you, who's ever holding the L's in the world of sports, and Trevor and I deserve those motherfucking L's. Trevor Twidwell, who's holding L for you this week?
Listen, man, it was a slow week of L's for me this week. There wasn't too much really to choose from, but the glaring one, and we've touched on it a couple times in this show already, but the ring ceremony, which was great, by the way. It was fun seeing Patrick Mahomes like trying to peek in the box and all that stuff. Those are always so fun, We've experienced several of those now over the past few years, and it's been very fun and very enjoyable seeing the guys get all dressed up with their ladies, and just a fun thing to watch, be a part of.
By the way, Trimmy Duffy, way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was cool to see Taylor Swift obviously chiming in on the live stream and stuff. Yeah. That was cool, man. Her being in Liverpool, it was like 4 a.m. over there, her still showing love and, congratulating on bringing McCole back and all. This is cool to see that, man. Yep. The biggest star in the world is live chatting the Chiefs, on the live stream. It's a surreal time. It still is not real to me yet. It's probably not gonna be real time in hindsight. Looking back, I'm like, dude, that really happened. We lived that. That really happened. Yeah. This is the golden era. She's the Madonna of this era. It's wild, dude. Even bigger. I would agree. Yeah. She is bigger than life itself at this moment. So that was all fun to see. But the L-worthy situation here was the engravements on the inside of the rings. I don't know if the players had that on theirs, but as far as like if you want to buy like a replica and all that was showing on the actual website to show what those rings consisted of, the engravings did give the Miami, because it had every opponent that we went through to win the Super Bowl and their seeding, and it had had the Dolphins for the first game as the 7th seed. They were actually the 6th seed. And maybe, I don't know, but to me, man,
Chiefs beat them so bad they got knocked down a seed.
Yeah, that's how much we think about the Dolphins and Tyreek Hill and them boys. Maybe that's a shot at Tyreek. How great
would that be if it was a troll job, dude?
The subtle shot at Tyreek. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Y'all played like a 7 seed. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it did. Yeah, 7 seed, 6 seed. Who gives a shit? But whoever did the engravings, though, whoever put up the demos for that. You had one job, and you're a loser. You're a loser at that job. And what letter starts with what letter leads the word loser? It's L. So whoever it was had the job of doing the engravings and doing the demos online for what those rings consisted of. Hopefully that's not the finished product, but whoever slipped up and had that job do that, you had one job to do and you did it wrong. So for that, do me a solid favor and hold this L.
You know how we're told constantly that, the having playing experience is what makes you knowledgeable of the game. Yeah. I've always pushed back on that because I don't think that is naturally inherent with said experience. I think a lot of times people make it and play a sport because they're very talented at it, not because they're very knowledgeable of it. We've even heard players that didn't even love the sport they played. We heard about Jeff King, who played with the Giants back in the day with Barry Bonds. He did not like baseball, but he was very good at it. So he kept playing and made a ton of money. That's why I push back on it, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have biases just like a fan that have the talent of a supreme athlete. And they get to play the sport, but they still hold on to their biases. We know there is not a player in this world that has been more criticized unfairly than LeBron James. And this isn't even about, I don't want to even make this whole thing about LeBron. I want to make it about the person that's making this take. It is a former NBA and college player, played with North Carolina and played in a lot of different places in the NBA. He was on Gilbert Arenas' show this week. He's usually on there a lot, but this is 𝙲𝙷𝙸𝙀𝙾𝚃𝙷𝙴𝚁. And he's asked a very simple question from Brandon Jennings. And no, I don't believe this is a joke when he answers this ridiculously silly question. But we'll go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage.
So you respect Reggie Miller's legacy over LeBron's?
Yeah. Yeah. Because Reggie didn't have nowhere near the pieces that LeBron had during his journey. And I think that if Reggie would have had those pieces, his legacy would have...
During his journey...
You guys know you guys know I'm a LeBron fan. Trevor's a LeBron fan. But even if I wasn't, if I heard this particular clip, how could I ever take anything that 𝙲𝙷𝙸𝙀𝙃 says seriously ever again? Like, even people that don't like LeBron have to laugh at the idea that somebody would sit there and say that they would respect the legacy of Reggie Miller over LeBron James. This is getting so far out of hand, and what we're dealing with in today's world when it comes to the hate that LeBron James faces. I mean, Trevor and I have talked about on the show. Stephen A. Smith and Michael Wilbon and Rick Bucher and his nine head are on the payroll for Michael Jordan, and it's almost they're flaunting it, because now after Jerry West, and by the way, really sad that we lost such a great man and a great philanthropist and basketball player. He had 3 Hall of Fame careers, by the way. Jerry West did, as an exec player and as a coach, or as a GM rather.
Yeah.
As soon as Jerry West dies, we hear Stephen A. Smith give this anecdote about how Jerry West was willing to let Michael Jordan become the logo. Well, how convenient is it for you to talk about that so where Jerry West can't refute it anymore? If he was to actually like speak up and say, but we never heard that before. Now all of a sudden we hear that now that Jerry West is dead. We don't have the Last Dance documentary until the day of the Cleveland Cavaliers parade when they were down 3-1 against the best team of all time. All of a sudden Michael Jordan wants to open up that opportunity for the Last Dance, the documentary to be played. How convenient for that to happen. And now we're seeing people like this try to make any type of comparison between the legacy of Reggie Miller and LeBron James. Like I said, you don't have to be a fan of a guy, but to go this low and make this isn't even like funny. It's pathetic to try to compare a guy who averages fewer points in his career than DeMar DeRozan to LeBron James, who's averaged at least 25 points per game for 2 entire decades consecutively. And that's not even the best thing he's ever done. For you to even... there's no way in hell you can take these guys seriously. And these are former players. There are former players and former athletes that Trevor and I have on the show all the time. On Arrowhead Allies, we have them on all the time. And we respect their opinions. Because the guys we have on our shows are knowledgeable athletes. These are people that know the game and understand the game. I may not agree with everything they have to say, even with them being knowledgeable people, but it's never to the extreme of something like this where you know it has to be intentional hate. It is sad, pathetic, and this clip right here is why media gets such a bad rap. It's why people think that everybody is clickbaiting. It's why everybody thinks that everyone's just out here for a hot take. It makes it more difficult for shows like ours to be taken seriously because everybody thinks that we're trying to do the same thing. And we're not. because I promise you I would never give you guys something so dishonest as Rashad McCann, Brandon Jennings, and Gilbert Arenas just did in that clip. So for that, their show and Rashad McCann's brain cells, do me a solid and hold the sale. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's not even barely worth acknowledging, but yeah, I mean that's a big platform.
But you know what's worth acknowledging? All of you and our guy that better late than never, Lonnie Pyramid, jumped in and said,
Yep.
You guys, hope all is well, checking in from work, #spoken. Shout out to you, Lonnie. We're waiting for you. Now we can officially end the show. That's all we were waiting on. Now that we know that, Lonnie, you got to check in, Trevor and I can go on with our lives. But you know what? This was an awesome show. We appreciate you guys every single week. This is always a blast. This is always what I look forward to every single week. If we could, Trevor, put the image up real quick from our guys over at Arrowhead Allies. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m., unless told otherwise, you can find us on YouTube on this very channel, The Spoken Podcast. You can find me, Clint Switzer, Noah Groniger, Brian B. Shinen, and the one, the only Shaggy Shane Williams on Arrowhead Allies. We just got done doing an incredible segment with the great Willie Rofe. I got to tell an awesome story about my childhood and meeting Willie Rofe one time at an airport. Had a cool story. I won't spoil it here. Go watch the video. Willie was awesome. Gave us some great insight on his career, what he saw from the greats like late great Larry Allen. Who did he go up against that he liked the challenge of? He gave us a cool story about Dwight Freeney. It was just really great on-depth conversation. We give you guys some takes at the end of the show as well from our perspective. But every single week you can see it down the list. We had Reggie Tongue on. We've had former great players on the Chiefs. We've had former players that didn't play for the Chiefs. We've had a lot of really good people. Clint and Noah, they do really well at getting awesome guests. You can find them every single week here. And I'm really excited to tell you guys as well. Trevor's finding this out now. Next week, we will be having the host of Chief Concerns back. Marcus Dash will be joining us because we also have a very exciting announcement to make that is going to involve both of our shows. Don't want to give away too much, but I'm very confident you guys are going to enjoy what we will be announcing next week on this show. So don't miss episode 272 of the Spoken Podcast, because I promise you guys you're going to want to know what I'm talking about when it comes to Marcus Dash, Trevor, and myself. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Windler who puts all this together, along with all the Red Tribe Cinema content, I'm Lance Twidwell with the Starcade Media family. Episode 271 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we are back in 1 week's time, it's going to be here before you guys know it for episode 272. Be excited for it. We out of this bitch. Have a great weekend, guys. Happy Father's Day.